I know. Once in a while, make up the last one we had.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. I would like to call to order the Pasco County Board of County Commission 10 o'clock a.m. meeting at March 7th, 2023. At this time, silence all electronic devices and mute your phones. Please rise for invocation and pledge.
O merciful Creator, your hand is open wide to satisfy the needs of every living creature. Make us thankful for your loving providence and grant that we, remembering the account that we must one day give, may be faithful stewards of your good gifts. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Here.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Present.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey. Here. District 4, Commissioner Bradford.
Here.
District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Here. Now is the time for public comment. Citizens are given an opportunity to comment on any current or future agenda item coming before the board and on any other business under the board's purview. Today's public comment will be handled as follows. First, we will take public comment from those who are here in person. Then we will take public comment from those who are pre-registered for WebEx link and are currently on queue. We request that when you address the board, comments are not directed personally against a commissioner or team member, but rather directed at the issues. This provides mutual respect between the board and members and the public. After stating your name and address for the clerk, a 3-minute timer will be activated. After 2 minutes, a single beep will indicate that you have 1 minute left. When your time is up, 2 beeps will sound, and you should close your comments. WebEx participants will be disconnected automatically when their time is up. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
Mr. Chair, I have one person signed up in person. I do not have anyone signed up on WebEx for this morning session. I have Mr. Dylan Rich. Please state your name and address for the record, and then you may proceed.
My name is Dylan Rich. I live at Fire Street in Brooksville, Florida, 29085.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dylan Rich. I'm 29 years old. I was born and raised in Newport Richey. I'm here today to speak on the further development of Anklo Beach. Growing up in Newport Richey, like many other longtime residents of the area, we would take frequent trips to Anklo Park. Fishing trips, birthday parties, family outings, things you would typically see many other families enjoying at Anklo Beach on any given day. Now some years have passed, and I've been given the wonderful opportunity to make new memories there with my own children and family, to share with them the peace of Old Florida preserved. I was intended at Anklo Beach Park. A coastal park such as this is probably one of the few unique features that Pasco County has left to offer. One of the few things that separates itself from the chaos of theme parks and cheap novelty souvenir shops. I honestly can't say I'm surprised to hear of the interest in enclosed project development. However, I am surprised to hear its approval and how little residents had been made aware of its planning and approval. I'm not against progress. I'm against construction of a project on preserved parkland that will draw excessive traffic, voting crowds, noise, and exhaust fumes, the essential antithesis of parkland. If exceptions are made here, where will the line be drawn? What project will be next? Water slides and river rapids at Green Key. Further development may not be the committee's agenda, but it will be for the next electees. I'm not ignorant to think that my words will impact on any way a project of this size that's already been decided upon and set in motion, one where vast amounts of money have already been allocated and spent. I'm here to state my piece for my children in the further developing Florida that will see the value in their future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And with anyone else here from the public would like to speak? And there's no one on WebEx, so we'll close public comment. Now is the time for resolutions. Madam Clerk, would you please read the first resolution?
Yes, is anyone here for Newspaper and Education Week? Thank you. Please step up to the podium. I will go ahead and read the resolution. Resolution number 23-080, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, declaring March 6th through March 10th, 2023 as Newspaper and Education Week in Pasco County and commending the Tampa Bay Times for its participation in this program. Whereas Newspaper and Education Week is an initiative of the American Press Institute, is an international program that encourages the use of daily newspaper as an instructional classroom tool and is celebrated annually during the first full school week in March. And whereas the Newspaper and Education program encourages the use of daily newspaper as a living textbook for students from primary through adult education levels. And whereas for more than half a century, the Tampa Bay Times newspaper and education program has served Tampa educators, students, and families by providing print and digital newspaper, award-winning educational publications, teacher guides, lesson plans, educator workshops, and many more resources, all at no cost to schools, teachers, or families. And whereas during the 2021 to 2022 school year, Newspaper and Education served 14,271 students at 37 schools in Pasco County, and the Tampa Bay Times provided more than 10 million digital educations in classrooms across Tampa Bay. And whereas Newspaper and Education served 919 teachers at 467 schools in Citrus, Hernando, Hillsborough, Manatee, Pasco, and Pinellas counties. Newspaper and Education produced 15 original educational publications, 3 of which won national awards from the National Newspaper Association. And whereas more than 60% of people with high exposure to newspapers in childhood are regular readers of newspapers as adults, according to a study conducted for the News Media Alliance, former Newspaper Association of America Foundation. That percentage is significant because statistically, people who read the newspaper daily are more engaged citizens. Engaged citizens participate in their communities by voting and practicing good citizenship. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby declares March 6th through March 10th, 2023 as Newspaper and Education Week in Pasco County and commends the Tampa Bay Times newspaper for its participation in this program. Done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting the 7th day of March 2023.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Starkey.
Good morning, and here's a little piece of history that you may not know. That my husband's great-grandfather, William Straub, was the founder of the Times. What is then the St. Pete Times, now the Tampa Bay Times. But he bought it from the Dunedin. It was like the Dunedin Evening Weekly or something, and moved it to St. Pete. And I know Trey's grandmother and his great-grandmother used to drive around and deliver it in the evenings when it started. But it grew to a pretty big newspaper, and they sold it to the Poynter Institute. But if you open the Times, you'll see William Straub of Straub Park there in the masthead, and so this is kind of special for me. So, but we welcome you here, and why don't you speak to us a little bit about this program?
Good morning. My name is Sue Bedry. I'm with the Tampa Bay Times newspaper and education program. I didn't know about that family connection. That's awesome. It is our pleasure and our honor at the Times to provide class sets of the newspaper as well as other educational resources to schools. We have done this since the mid-1970s, and it's really important to us not just to create or help to create literate students, but also students that are engaged in their communities and will grow up to be involved. They volunteer, they vote, and maybe even they serve on the county commission or a similar board. So that is our mission and our purpose, and we are glad to continue it even in these tough times. We still provide print newspapers twice a week to schools, and we also give them free access to the digital edition. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. We really appreciate your support.
You know, times have changed because it used to be that when you were getting the print edition, if you're going out of town, you know, and I would stop my subscription, you could say, well, donate that to the school district. That when you, instead of stopping it, you donate something to the school district. But you can't do, I mean, most people probably get it digitally now, so times have changed.
You can still donate the value of your digital subscription to us when you go on vacation, so please continue to do so.
All right, well, board members, would you like to come down and be in the photo?
Okay, folks, right here, please. Thank you. Great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And RS2?
The second resolution is for the Irish American Heritage Month. Is anyone here for that? Please step up to the podium.
If no one's here, just read the title only.
Okay. Resolution number 23-079, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, proclaiming the month of March to be designated Irish American History Month in recognition of the long history of Irish American contributions to the state of Florida.
Someone make a motion to approve?
So moved?
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next order of business is the consent agenda. I have two items listed to be pulled, C6 and C30. Are there any other items that need to be pulled at this time?
Move we approve the rest of the items on the consent agenda. Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Andrew Baxter, C6.
Good morning, board members. Andrew Baxter, Facilities Management Director. This is to correct a mathematical error that was on this agenda item in the amount of $1,035.50, which was incorrectly reflected as the closing cost. The closing cost is actually $593.50, and so the new fiscal impact section will now read $11,593.50, which includes the purchase price of $11,000 plus the closing costs of $593.50. With that correction, recommend approval.
Thank you. Have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And C30?
Good morning, honorable board members. Panos Conces, Assistant Engineering Services Director. This item was pulled and revised because there were some edits, markup changes, edits that remained in the final document. So we revised pages 32 and 33 of the final agreement to remove those markups.
Okay.
I recommend approval of the revised document.
Move approval.
For the
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Dennis.
much.
Okay, now to the regular agenda, starting with R38, presentation only.
Good morning. Bob
morning.
Berg, Pasco County Budget Director. This morning, I'd like to talk to you about our early thoughts on the economy for the upcoming year, as well as the potential impact that might have on revenues for the fiscal year 2024 budgeting process. So we've all heard the horror stories out there. There's going to be a recession. There's not going to be a recession. There's going to be an economic downturn. There won't be an economic downturn. One thing we know is, with the exception of the wild swing in the economy at the beginning of the COVID, the economy has been growing at about 2% per quarter for the past 10 years. We expect that trend to continue for the near upcoming future. And if there is a recession, we believe that our area, because of the growth in our region, we are much more able to withstand the negative impacts of any recession, more so than other areas of the economy. There are two economic indicators we are keeping our eye on that we do believe will have an impact on the 2024 budget. The first is the unemployment rate. As you know, the unemployment rate is at historic lows, which is causing wages to rise. So it's a simple supply and demand. As the supply of labor goes down, the demand of labor goes up. The cost of that labor also goes up. And you can see the impact on the the employment cost index there. It's been increasing every quarter since 2019. The second area that we're expecting to have an impact on the budget is inflation. Inflation is now at 9.6%, down from its high of over 10% a few months ago. It has been declining. The Fed is taking steps to reduce the inflation, and as the stimulus money moves through and out of the economy, we expect this inflation to go down. However, it's not going to be down anywhere near where we want this. So inflation, for our purposes, is primarily going to be impacting healthcare, energy, vehicles, and, as Andrew Baxter is painfully aware, construction. So, in a nutshell, looking at the economy, we are expecting the unemployment rate and inflation to impact our costs, our expenditures in 2024. One bright spot on the horizon is tourism is back to where it was prior to the pandemic. And tourism is important to us because about 12% of our sales tax revenue comes from visitors to the county. Building activity remains strong, and just for planning purposes, we're expecting this to continue to increase in the short term. In the long term, as the Fed increases interest rates to bring inflation down, that is also going to impact the mortgage rates, mortgage interest rates. So in the long term, that's going to bring down the number of people who are willing to buy a house. So as we look at our permitting, you can see we are at record highs in our building permits, and for that reason, we're expecting the 2024 taxable assessed values to be at or a little below where they were in 2023. As you can see, in 2023, their taxable assessed values increased by 16.7%. We're just showing on the graph, we expect it to increase anywhere between 12 and 16%. So for planning purposes, we've laid out three scenarios here. We don't believe the 8% scenario is a realistic scenario, although we do have it there for your viewing pleasure. But if we just look at the middle section there, if the taxable assessed values increase by 12%, that would yield an additional $35.5 million in property tax revenues. Of that $35 million, 40% of that, or $14 million, would be the sheriff's allocation. Almost $750,000 would go to the county's community redevelopment agencies. $2.25 million would go to our tax increment financing district, which is the entire county, and that's used to fund transportation projects. And when we do the math, that would yield an additional almost $18.4 million for the board to spend on important new initiatives. So that would be money available to the board and any increases that constitutional officers may ask for. If we go to the 16%, if they were to increase 16%, that would yield an additional $25 million for the board. So if we look at our other revenue sources, our half-cent sales tax revenue is our largest revenue other than property tax revenue in the general fund. As you can see here, month-over-month increases is about 5%. We expect that to continue, and we are expecting a 5 to 6% increase in half-cent sales tax revenues in 2024. Penny for Pasco, which the county uses for environmentally sensitive lands, transportation, public safety, and economic development. Again, this is increased 5.2% over last year, and we're expecting that to continue in the 5 to 6% increase in 2024. You can see those humps, those little blips that happen every so often. The reason for that is the state collects our internet sales tax, and then they distribute that to us on a quarterly basis. Here we have communication service tax. This is a 35-cent fee on your phone bill every month, and we use that to fund the 911 center. As you can see, there's been a drastic reduction in that revenue between 2009 and today, although in 2022 and estimate again in 2023, those communication service taxes are increasing at about 2% per year. So we're projecting out in 2024 that that will be, again, another 2% increase. Keep in mind that in 2009, we received almost $6 million in this communication service tax revenue. So we're making up that difference between the $6 million and the $4 million. We're making that up with general fund revenues. Local option fuel taxes. As you know, the first local option fuel tax is used to repair existing roads. Second local option gas tax is used to add capacity to existing roads or to build new roads. As you can see, they are increasing at about 2% per year. And as more and more electric vehicles come online, we're expecting that as well to sort of flatten out in the out years. So, as you saw, we're expecting increase in our taxable assessed values, which will result in an increase in property taxes. We're seeing an increase in revenues in our half-cent sales tax and so on. But at the same time, we have additional revenues that we have to consider going into the 2024 budget. So we have the jail expansion. So that's expected to be completed next summer of 2024. And we're expecting that we will need upwards of 200 additional corrections officers to be able to safely manage that expanded space. We're looking at a new fire station, new library. We're looking at taking over Rad Sports, the Wiregrass Sports Complex. And you can see all the other areas here that will be coming down the pike as additional expenditures for the 2024 budget. So we are, as you can see, in 2023, new construction was at an all-time high. It was even higher than in 2008. We are expecting that to reduce to kind of the average. We are not expecting this to stay at this very high level forever. And we're certainly not expecting it to drop off like it did during the recession. So don't anybody go out there and panic and sell your house today. We are expecting it to go down to about the average. So staying at this level isn't really all that relevant for the near term or the long term. And so in general, the stimulus funding, we've got the stimulus funding. We don't see any more stimulus funding on the horizon. We are entering the 24 budget year optimistic, but we want to stay agile in case there is a recession or something that comes up that we need to respond to. We are expecting significant increase in taxable assessed values, but we must ensure that that spending is spent in a sustainable way so that when those taxable assessed values do come down, that we're not then left with these high expenditures that we can't maintain in the future. And so because of that, we're recommending that we balance new recurring expenditures with a significant piece of this new money going to capital spending, which are one-time spending. So if there is a downturn, if there is something that comes up, we can always pull back that one-time spending and not spend that. But it does allow us to address a lot of the capital spending that we haven't been able to meet in our parks, libraries, and so on, in our facilities. And so with that, here's our budget calendar. The the property appraiser will be giving us a preliminary taxable assessed values on June 1st and the final by July 1st. We will be back here on May 16th for a commission budget workshop. We will update you on the revenues, where we are with the revenues at that time. We will talk about business plan initiatives, which are new spending, which our department directors have recommended, and we will also be asking you for kind of your ideas of where you'd like to see the new spending in 2024. And with that, that's all I have for you today. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Commissioner Whitten?
Thank you. I appreciate the update. I've shared this with staff, Mr. Corbala, and I think we'll have a discussion later today with some of your team. As we go into this
new funding season. I think it's important that this board remember there's a new school tax. It's becoming online up to $1 million. We're going to be potentially implementing the road paving MSTU. It's another one. The dredging MSBU, which the citizens want, but that's number 3. And then the potential and the conversation, has been going around about a potential fire MSTU, so that's another one. And then if there's conversation around, the average normal increase of property tax increase of another 3%. So I just want to go on record to say, hey, we've got a handful of different, taxing abilities that could be coming down all at once, and I just think it'd be mindful in the rollout, the timing, and the setting of the rate, depending on the direction that this board decides to go. So I just think it's important that we understand kind of the bigger picture that you were talking about here.
Commissioner Bradford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I concur with Commissioner Waitman, all the different assets and all the different needs that we have, the additional constraints and pressures that we're going to have on the budget. He says it much more eloquently than I do, but it is a choice. Some of these are a choice. That's us up here making those choices. And that's what we were elected to do, and I'm sure collectively as a board we will make the right choices. Thank you.
Commissioner Oakley.
Well, as you look at the new year coming on and looking at the budget, I had first thought the values of home were going to come down a little bit, but then I understand it's at best pretty flat from the same thing we had last year, basically. But along with that, you have more and more expenses with the inflation, so things have to be done. That you can't keep kicking the can down the road, and you have to take choices in doing those things. The things like the fire MSU and also the our parks and things of that nature, and also the canals. The canal's been sitting there for years and years, and no one's done anything about it. And now we're going to set up a MSU to take care of those issues, not just for now, but from now on, to continue that along in maintenance. Personally, I think they should have been done a long time ago, and it would have already been in our budget. So that's something we should have taken care of. But you can't cut back millage, and you can't stop. One day you're going to have values start turning the other way, and those extra tax monies that you get in from citizens on the value of their property going up will be used now. But as it turns south and goes down, you're going to be trimming that budget quite a bit to be able to, provide for those different projects you want to do. So there's a day coming that won't always be values like we've had in the last few years, but it can change and go the other way just as well. And if you change your millage rates, you change the ability to ever get that back, and you don't need to lose that revenue to keep your county going. We're going to be a premier county. We've got a lot of things happening in our county to be premier, but it costs money to be premier. So, but we're on the right track. We got a lot of fire stations coming on board that we didn't have before, and several of these things the citizens of Pasco County stood up and voted for, and that's why they're on our budget right now for those bond issues that we put out. I think it was in 2018. So some of those fire stations are just now. We did the groundbreaking on Fire Station 3 yesterday over in Hudson and Jack's area, and going to be a great addition. It's going to cut down those things that the citizens have been asking for. When they reach out and say, we need help, we can't get service from our fire departments because it takes 30 minutes to get here. Well, that one yesterday was an infill in between stations that's going to cut that down to 5 and 10 minutes. So we're doing the right thing for our citizens, and I think they appreciate it. And I know they appreciate it on those 5 bond issues that we had back in 2018 because they voted it in themselves without us having to vote it in. We would have, this board would have done that back then, but we were so proud of our citizens. They stand up and realize they want these things, and we have to have some way to pay for it. That's how those bond issues got on there. But I think things are going in the right order, and we'll pay special attention to those things coming during this budget cycle to make sure we do the right thing.
Commissioner Starkey.
Yes, so I actually asked staff to prepare some charts for you all, especially for our new commissioners who may not know the history of our millage rates and things that happened to us in the past. So I don't know if you're able to put that up. But there was a time under the Gallagher regime, and when things in the last big boom, when our millage rate was really high, and this starts at 2004. I'd be kind of interested to see what it was even before 2004, but our millage rate was at 8.6, and values started increasing, and so the county commission rolled back the millage rate, and back in 2004. You know, we didn't have a lot of businesses. It was mostly, our government was funded by residential property values. And things have changed, but we're doing a lot better now. We're still not where we want to be, I think, but you'll see that the county commission rolled the millage rate back from 8.64 to 5.4. Is that coming up? And I get that they were being responsible stewards of the taxpayers' money, but
Here it is.
there were a few things that we didn't do then that we do now, and that's forecasting capital needs, like a new buildings, you know, growth, preparing for growth, even with our own county government and our constitutional officers' needs, and they didn't put any money aside. And then, but our government was very responsive here. But others around the state did not roll back their millage, and people got angry, and they put forth the Save Our Homes and the 3% cap, and Pasco County got caught at that 5.4 valuation or taxable millage rate, and we killed our libraries and our parks because our budget got hammered. And we are still recovering from that, I would tell you today. And it's one of the reasons why when we say we are so low in comparison to other counties is because we went all the way down to 5.4, and then our ability to raise our budget was hampered. So we are now at 7.6, and we have not raised taxes since 2016. We have been flat and doing the same millage rate ever since then, but we are growing like crazy. And I want to show you another chart that I had to make that shows us compared to our neighbors. And I hear this all the time, and it's why people move to our county, is because we are an inexpensive place to live compared to others in the area. So could I have one of you guys explain this better than me? So this is the value of 1 mil comparatively to the other areas around us?
Absolutely. As you can see, the different counties in our area, the blue would be the millage that for the general fund, and then the orange or whatever that color is would be the other millages. So for us, it would be the fire MSTU and the general obligation bonds. Some of the others, such as Hillsborough and Pinellas, they have an EMS millage, but there's different millages that they have. And so you can see how our millage stacks up to the others. The comparison that's interesting here is that that red line shows the value of 1 mil. So in Pasco County, for example, 1 mil is equal to looks there to be about $30 million, whereas in Hillsborough, it's equal to $140 million. And the reason for that gap is because properties in Hillsborough are valued at a much higher rate than they are in Pasco. So we have to have a higher millage rate to generate the same amount of money as they do in these other jurisdictions.
Yeah. And so other things that, as we discuss our budget going forward, to think about is what comes out of our general fund. And I wrote it in a highlight, so it's hard for me to read it, but I'm going to try. It's our libraries, our parks, the monies, some of the monies that we use to combat homelessness, the jail, rescue. So we have a fire MSTU, but rescue comes out of the general fund. That's our ambulances, right? The sheriff, the constitutional officers come out of our general fund. Our TIF is somewhat reliant on our general fund, so that's, you know, helping fund transportation improvements around the county. And, boy, oh, the CRAs. And so the cities use that money, you know, to do the improvements within their cities. So, you know, I think we need to be careful, because I'm going to guess that most of our constitutionals are going to need some more money this year, and so I just wanted to lay that out there for all of us.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Starkey. And I'll say I was here in '04 when it started, when your chart starts there, and at the emotion at the time was for everybody to cut the taxes wherever you can, stay fiscally conservative. That's what we're trying to do every step of the way. It was tough to foresee that when the downturn would happen, that all of a sudden would be capped from the state and the restraints that were on there, and all of a sudden we couldn't respond back to where our citizens would probably have said, look, go ahead and raise it up and put yourself in position to plan for the future. And I'll say from that point, the previous boards looked at it to say, okay, let's go start building up our reserves, and we got them up to 16.7%. And if you think about the logic to that, if we have a Hurricane Ian that comes here, one of those comes in, you better have reserves in place. And I think financially we're in great shape for that at this point. But at this time, I think it's time to also be cautious that if there is another downturn, I mean, Florida's going to be straight. People strong. People are still wanting to come to Florida in big droves. But if there's a big collapse up in the Northeast, all those people that are bringing it down and paying money and cash for these places they're buying right now, because it's not the people financing it buying right now, it's people who have cash. And if things drop up there, and that's going to affect us big time. I will say Consuelo's here with tourism, and tourism has done a good job working on the local market, the Florida market, to make sure they come. So if people can't afford to travel far away, they still may come here, and tourism could still be going on, establish themselves. The ranch project is something that's good. The hockey rinks are good. SunWest is great. So you've got reasons for people to come here and take the day trips to keep spending money. When you look at the cost of food, meals, I mean, look at what it costs you to go to eat now. Look what it costs you to buy your grocery bill now. You see those increases? They're not 5%, 10, 15%, whatever the number really is. I mean, even it states here 9.6%. I do want to say a couple of things as far as the jail coming on. That's going to be a big expense. And right now, the allocation used to be, I don't know what the allocation used to be for the jail, but now we're only allocating 10% of the sheriff's previous budget to that. That number there is now going to go from another 1,000 beds coming in. That's a big, big expense coming up. Now, I do want to say that with the sheriff's office in the past 6 years, we have given him, as we saw, a picture of the growth money that was coming in here. And I want to say, as far as the ranking goes per capita, I had Bob kind of run the numbers. Population rank, we're 11th in funding the sheriff. Cost per capita rank, we're only 16th. We're not that far out of the range. So I think we're in pretty good shape as far as continue along to support the sheriff as we want to. But if this budget from the jail goes up that much higher to numbers, and I think, Bob, you're seeing numbers that may be kind of a little scary, how your costs are going to go for things you've got to go buy right now, that you got to be a little conservative here where we're going to go. I think we all heard, and I know Commissioner Bradford and Waitman, just being on the campaign trail, you heard a lot about the fire service team and what's going on. And I will tell you, it's so great to have all these ribbon cuttings, grand openings with all the great things we're doing to protect our firefighters, to serve, so they can serve our people better. I think we're doing some great things there. The ambulance is coming on place, so we're doing a lot of good things. Some other changes coming up, and you've seen it with SwiftMud. SwiftMud has changed. They don't want to do these local projects anymore for stormwater. We've got some projects right now. Matter of fact, on the agenda, I don't think we had 5 items for Sea Pines. Phase 3 is still not funded yet. We've got to figure out how to take care of that. I'm going to be saying, I think we should take a close look at that at stormwater MSTU. Go look at what SwiftMud cut back, and we can deal with our own internally, and let's go figure out what the difference would be to our citizens, and maybe we need to increase it to kind of get it to where we can keep our projects going on. It's so much better when you go to Jasmine Lakes and Timber Oaks that aren't flooding out all the time. down in Trinity, the improvements we made down there, people don't want to get flooded out. We want to make sure we can protect these people. All the GO bonds that went through, that was our citizens telling us they want more services. And I think people coming from the Northeast, they don't want just a slimline county government. They want someone who's going to provide services like they're used to. They voted on it. They told us they wanted to do it. The paving assessment in MSU, I think, is going to be a phenomenal thing. And I think just we can always keep it to the higher level. If you're going to cut later on's the time to cut. But let's go through the process and just kind of keep the millage where it's at and keep on rolling. Mr. Stark.
And I read today, and I've been hearing this, that the legislature's looking at going with the Save Our Homes cap from 3% to 2%. So that's something else that we need to think of. You know, I think we're all conservative thinkers up here, and it's, you know, only once in my life did I really vote to raise the tax, and that was when we were losing our deputies to Hillsborough County and the city of Tampa. And you know, sometimes you just have to really analyze the numbers, and it was cheaper for us to raise the millage and pay for increased salaries than to train deputies for 3 years and ship them off to another municipality. So, you know, we just had to bite the bullet and do it. But, you know, I'm sure you guys are getting hammered by the people who are citizens who need more playing fields. And that is general revenue money, and we're still years away from catching up on where we should be with playing fields compared to our population growth.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to add something to what you said about the jail, the new portion of the jail for 1,000 beds. Well, I think we're only going to get somewhere around 600 beds out of the money that we put aside for that bond issue. Because of the inflation was so high at the time, we couldn't finish that out to 1,000 beds. So we're still short of beds in the future that we're going to have to prepare to take on and build that out to have 1,000 beds. So, and our population is growing, and that jail population will grow the same way. So.
Yeah. And I think the people, they look at, part of the GO bonds with parks and libraries, literally we had to cut it 30% back when the economy dropped, 30%. We put park fees in place with Commissioner Starkey. Didn't want to hear me argue about those fees anymore for a long time. But I understand what the board was doing, but I didn't like them. Still wouldn't have done it again. But anyway, that's the type of battle that was going on because you didn't have the funding. You had to take care of your core services first, the safety first, and then everything else you could go do. And that's where it fell. I don't want to put us in that situation again. And I think our people have clearly said, look, we want you not only to get services back to where they were, but they're willing to back it up with the funding to go forward with it. So it's an opportunity where it's a different game from what it was, I'll say, 18 years ago. People want the services. I think they like what the board's doing. Yep. And I think we should continue on providing services that they're asking us for. We're not just raising taxes, we're giving them the service they want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we have ways to go still on the budget.
Yes, ma'am.
I will say, we used to do this a lot later in the year. And when I went through the advanced commissioner classes with FAC, we had the opportunity to go through the budgeting process with Leon County. And it was such an eye-opening process because we would be fighting about things in September. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
It was very contentious. And I mean, the summer was stressful. And so Michelle Baker was our county administrator at the time. And we you weren't here, I don't think. No. And so we had some conference calls with the team in Leon County, and our staff and Michelle worked with Leon County staff, and we adopted their budget process. So we now start much earlier than we used to, and I mean it's nothing like what it used to be in September and August when we were all still fighting over everything in the budget. And I always tell other counties, you should look and see what Leon County did. And we adopted that. So we start so much earlier, and it's so much better for all of us.
Well, it's a large budget to go through.
Yeah.
Some of our departments, their budgets and their departments are larger than budgets for some cities around. So, but they're a very large process to put all that together, and starting early is nothing wrong with starting early and getting it done.
Yeah,
so.
and you know, we always tweak it near the end because we don't know where that final number's gonna be when we get those numbers, you know, towards the end, and we know what, have a pretty good idea of what we can add, and it's like a little gift at the end, kind of, for some departments, not everybody. But I really like the way we do it, and I'm appreciative of our staff, starting so early.
It's a much more professional approach. It's very calm compared to what it was, as you say, years ago.
Yeah.
And I want to say just one thing I meant to touch on as far as the budget goes. Keep in mind, we just did a pay study, went through, looked at our employees, because if you don't have good employees, you don't get things done anyway. So we've gone through that, and we've raised the pay. I mean, we had stormwater utility people who were making not a lot of money, and now they're being compensated for the job they do. And I'll tell you, when you can take your internal people and grow them and let them go, that money gets spent right back in your economy anyway. So it's all going to be right here. So,
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bob, your team's doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
More code officers, more code officers, more code officers.
So I would like to publicly thank Bob and
Can I
his
get on
team.
that?
Right, begin.
Can I get on that one? Yes, yes, yes.
So I would like to publicly thank, Mr. Chair, if I could, Bob and his team for a phenomenal job. Yes, as you point out, Commissioner Starkey, this team has been working on the budget since December. All right, so these things have been going forward. And I think we appreciate the opportunity to have the revenue forecast discussion with all of you to kind of get your thoughts and input as we take all that into account as we build the budget, build a responsible budget that provides the services that our citizens want, and do it in an affordable way. You know, that's not lost on us. And so we'll continue. I think I'll get to see some of the first rounds of these budgets in April, and then we'll be coming back to the board in May with a little more detailed discussion on what those expense items look like. Yes, there's a lot of demand for a lot of different things, and so we'll be looking to the board too for some guidance on how to finalize and craft that into something that's going to work for our citizens. I would also like to add too that Bob and his team we're looking forward to at trying to leverage grants and other outside funding sources too to leverage our taxpayers' dollars. That's something that we really need to focus strongly on, and that we intend to in the coming years to bring home more of our taxpayer dollars that get spent in other places to bring them back to Pasco County to leverage that. So,
Okay, Commissioner Starkey?
Well, Commissioner Oakley had his hand up before me.
Since you brought it up, Ms. Starkey, about code enforcement, I find it, and I guess this question is Mr. Steinstein, it's just a question to see, but it seems like code enforcement sometimes is, their hands are tied because they can't go on the property to verify if someone's doing the right thing for a conditional use, whatever. You can't actually check it, can't go on the property or make any checks like that. Why is that? Is there something in the law or ordinance we need to change, or?
Well, it's more difficult, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Oakley, it's more difficult when you're dealing with residential uses. But the legislature has also made it more difficult not taking anonymous complaints, but anything that the code officers can view visually, they can enforce. The problem is if it's behind a fence, behind a wall.
There you go. That's the issue.
That's, you know, we would have to get administrative warrants, and then you'd have to have probable cause to get back in to do those inspections.
Then it's too late. So
So let me follow
that's
with
a
that.
stumbling block. I
Yeah, I
kind
have a
of
follow-up on
hate
that.
that stumbling block.
I'm
So.
gonna forget what I was.
So let me follow with that, Commissioner, County Attorney. On a special exception, can we change the laws, the rules to like put in inspections?
So special exceptions would be a different situation. Those things which we are enforcing general approvals that we've given, I think there are, well, we have to deal with those on a case-by-case basis, but yes.
Yeah.
But when somebody applies for a permit, they open themselves up for inspection. The continuance of a use that is a privilege would also, I believe, give us the same rights.
But if you can't
If it's a
fix-
permitted use, maybe, maybe not. I mean, we'd have to go over the particular uses that you're having concern with and figure out what it is we're dealing with.
Okay. Mr. Starkey?
Well, on that same line, and then I'm going to say what I was going to say before. I actually was talking with one of our legislators yesterday at the fire station ribbon cutting that seems to me our hands are tied on some code enforcement action where we don't really want them to be, especially when we have people squatting on land that they shouldn't be. And so in talking with our legislator, he said, bring me ideas and suggestions. So we plan to meet with our attorney's office and see if, and our code enforcement people and staff, and see if there's any ideas that maybe legislatively we can do that help take care of these problems, because it's just not fair to the community when, you know, we have people living in places that they shouldn't, and there's syringes and everything there, and there's nothing we can do, and they contaminate our wells, and I mean, we just need more tools, and sometimes maybe some tweaks in the law will give us some more opportunity to make sure we're having a safe community. Did you want to comment on that same line? Because I'm going to turn to a different direction.
You go right ahead.
Okay. Well, this will only be a 30-second commercial, but
In crayon?
I just want to say again that as we're talking about MSTUs, I have been asking and advocating for a parks MSTU. And the reason why I feel strongly about it is because we are so far behind. Bexley needs their Little League field complex. We actually have a Starkey Little League district now, and they have no field to play. So, and it's the first new Little League since I moved here 30-something years ago. We always played out at on Pine Hill, but now we have a whole new one, and they have no fields. So I know we're talking about raising the impact fees, but that is not money that you can bond, and that's going to take a while to build up so that we have capital money to go build some more parks. But an MSTU, we can bond, and I'm not saying it should be a big number. I think it should be, you know, $25 or something like that, but it gets some money in the hopper quickly, and we can bond it and go build some soccer fields and baseball fields, because we are way behind. So I think that was more than 30 seconds.
We got another resolution.
Mr. Chair.
Don't we have another item?
But Mr. Bradford, Commissioner Bradford
Yeah,
has
Commissioner
a
Bradford.
Mr. Bradford.
comment.
I'd just like to make a comment. I'm always going to fight for my district like everybody else does, and I completely understand building a aquatic center on the west side for our kids to learn how to swim, because drowning is the #1 cause of death. I understand, I live in Bexley, so I understand that issue there. In my particular district, the parks are so old, and then the one on Little Road, Mitchell Park, well, it's a nice park, it's a beautiful piece of property, but when it rains, you need a canoe.
Yeah.
So it's not really a park half the time. So I just share that with you to keep it on the radar screen, and I appreciate you keeping that in mind. Thank you.
That Mitchell Park is a big thing we've talked about for a long time. And I think between the opportunities at Newport Corners, Magnolia Valley, and there's one of our budget requests this year is to actually go and fund that to go through to raise those fields up. And I think all that together, and again, I think I mentioned maybe last month that we need to go study Magnolia Valley, Newport Corners, and find out what's the best next move to make.
All right.
I'm with you. All right, anything else in the budget? Okay, so that takes the regular items, and now we get to go to committee reports. Commissioner Oakley.
Okay. Had a lot going on this past week. I didn't bring any pictures or give them any pictures to show, but on Friday, March 3rd, we had the 50th anniversary CARES Gala celebration over in Spartan Manor. Very well attended. A great great night for celebrating CARES and what they do. And we got to really appreciate all the work they do, and volunteers are a part of that from year after year. But 50 years is a long time. So I spent 51 years in my regular business, and they've been a business, theirs is 50 years, and so that's a long time. A lot of people involved, a lot of volunteers, a lot of caseworkers and social workers all dealing with our elderly and our seniors. So I'm kind of special feeling for seniors now. So, when I spoke, I wanted to say this, but I didn't. But I'll say it today because Ms. Starkey's present. But I was going to say I'm sitting on the Board of County Commissioners, and I'm the only senior, and I think I'm the only veteran, but I wasn't sure if Ms. Starkey went to boot camp or not. I wasn't sure.
In the military?
No, a veteran. Being a veteran.
No,
you
not
went
a
to
veteran.
boot camp.
No, I lived on military bases, but
We'll have
I'm
to
just
check.
joking you.
never was a paid member of the military.
Yeah. The next item was, on Saturday, I went to the 112th Annual Founders Day Celebration Parade in Zephyr Hills. Rode in a 1943 Army vehicle that actually was used by the French during the war. So, but I was in that vehicle when we rode through, so two ancient pieces of equipment going together. So. But tell on myself. Also, yesterday we broke ground, and I'm not going to say a whole lot about this because this is in Commissioner Mariano's district, the Fire Station 3 that we broke ground on yesterday on 52 Majestic Boulevard. I'll leave a lot more of that for you to say, but it was one of those infill stations that cut that time of 20 and 30 minutes for service out into the public to 5 and 10 minutes, which is very well needed and a great need that we have in the county. And so we're really, it seems like every time I'm turning around 2 or 3 weeks, we're putting another, either we're cutting a ribbon for a station or we're digging ground for a station. So
It's good times.
But a lot of good things. I got another one coming up soon. It's going to be down in Zephyr Hills. So, yep. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Waitman.
Good, thank you. First up, just want to wish our legislative delegation all the best up in Tallahassee and thank them for all they've done for us to date. And say that I think we can collectively say we're here to support them, to support us, and excited to work with them through this upcoming session. Next, I think we have some pictures, don't we? I have pictures for Commissioner Oakley here. Celebrate Commissioner Oakley, who's reappointed as chairman or voted as chairman at Tampa Bay Water. So pretty neat to have some strong Pasco representation on the board, and wanted to congratulate Commissioner Oakley on being our chairman for the second year. And then earlier last week, went and visited Swift Mud and got an award for representing Pasco over the last 3 years, and watched Dusty Rowland get sworn in as Pasco's new representative, and wish him all the best and excited to work with him in the upcoming years that he represents us. Next. So I want to thank John Tillman and his company of Certified Services. So they've adopted a couple of roads across Old Pasco and Wesley Chapel Boulevard. And he and his team a couple of days ago for American Cleanup, the Great American Cleanup, picked up over 1,000 pounds of garbage. And they cleaned up, it was over 30 bags, and they absorbed all the cost, and his team just went out there and started cleaning up and sent us a bunch of pictures of what was going on, abandoned, homeless camps. So I wanted to share this, the good work that Certified Services and John does for our community, but also reinforce the fact that, we need to continue to fight the trespassers and the littering, and, keep vigilant and figure out a way to combat this problem. And again, just grateful to John and his team for cleaning that up for us.
And I can see that the landscape's missing on the left side of that photo. Commissioner, what does Certified Services do? What's
They
the
do a series, so John, they do a series of like maintenance for different industrial facilities. So kind of from cleaning, maintenance, painting, buffering. John does, you know, I think they did business with Amazon warehouses, and so they come in and they provide not exactly janitorial services, but high level cleaning and maintenance services seemingly for the business. If John's listening, I'm sure he'll call and correct me. But he's got a, you know, seemingly growing business and
Good.
Do good for our community. Next, visited Pasco County, Baycare. Well, wait, before then, so I don't know if we all got invitations, but I got an invitation to go tour Pasco County Mosquito Control District. And so they reached out and kind of looking to have a renewed partnership seemingly with the county, and we talked about Kogan grass because they have the people and they're out in the world, and to try to come to a collaborative effort or try to find some synergies on how we can work well together to combat some of the environmental issues that we see out there. So they invited us out and took a tour, and they have their 3rd annual open house. I told them I'd share these flyers at their office off Marathon Road. And so I said I'd share these flyers with everybody if folks were interested. So that's my plug for Pasco's Mosquito Control District. And then today, Baycare Wesley Chapel is officially open. So we took a final walkthrough a couple weeks ago and met a lot of their team, and they're ready to rock and roll today. You can see their test dummy behind Andy, the skeleton. Hopefully that's not a sign of things to come there. But I saw it out of my peripheral, and I kind of jumped as we were walking through it. It startled me. And so it's kind of been a running joke. So congratulations to Baycare. We're excited to have them. And best of luck to Becky and her team as they take care of the folks of Pasco County. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Starkey?
Yeah, so if you're following some of the items that are of big news in the legislature this year, and I'm so excited about it, Senate President Pasadomo has really taken up trails and the workforce housing as her 2 big issues, and I think her counterpart in the House is right along there with her. So I'm very excited to see the bill moving forward with the Florida Wildlife Corridor and the double investment in the Sun Trail Network, of which the Coast to Coast Trail is a part of. And I follow, when I do go on Facebook, which isn't very often, I do have the Coast to Coast Facebook page, and one of the biggest complaints I see on it is the lack of signage. So this is kind of a shout out to our staff. Back when I was chair of the Tourism Council, one of the things we talked about was signage and wayfinding along our trails so that we can alert people who come to our county to ride our trails where businesses are nearby. And you'll see this all over the country, all over the world on trails where they have wayfinding signs to tell you what's nearby. So I just want to make sure we put that on our plans to add signage to the trail and to help businesses around get some, exposure. It is the county's responsibility to do the signage in each county, though there is a coast-to-coast logo. But each county is responsible. Let's see. I don't know if you also saw the bill that's worked its way through that combines HART with PSTA, the 2 transit agencies. I personally think it's a good idea, but we're not involved in that. But might make it easier as we look to do a regional transit plan that there's 2 agencies, and maybe one day there'll be 1 for the whole region, transit agency working on solving that problem. It came to my attention that Swift Mud is taking out the bridge over the Anklet River in the Starkey Wilderness Park. And I want to begin talks with Swift Mud and maybe our county about replacing that bridge. I don't think we need to have a great, big, heavy, beautiful wooden bridge that used to be there for a long time, but we do need some kind of access for hikers and cyclists to get from one side of the park to the other. And so we need to get that discussion going. Glad to hear you talk about Kogan grass, because as I drove along the new 52, it's all over the place. And frankly, I saw it all over in the entrance feature along 52 of Murata. So I called Kartik and let them know that they have sculpted into their beautiful entrance feature Kogan grass. And I am sure they are bringing it in from someone who has cleared their property for development. And so we've really got to move on that before we make it just so expensive that it'll be hard to tackle. But they're going to try and jump on that. So I think that's all. Oh no, I have some lovely pictures for you in my district in Holiday. I wanted to show to you. This is one of my residents.
You win.
Yes, yes. We have been dealing with this for a year. Can you show the other picture so you really get an idea of how they've expanded onto our road?
Wow.
So, but how nicely they put a little warning cone to not hit their stuff out on the road. So, of course, my residents are not happy about this, and the person that lives here has a mental illness.
Obviously.
While he has lots of possessions, he doesn't like to wear any of them. So he's frequently outside in his birthday suit. I have a question for a county attorney. And we are working with the judge on whether he's going to be cited criminally or civilly, because he was cited and he didn't do anything. So now we have to go to the next step. It's tough when you have someone with mental illness, but if this stuff is in the street, what can we do with that?
If it's within our right-of-way, the Public Works can take it.
Yeah, we can just.
So we own everything from the light pole to the left, and we can go get that?
Yes. I mean, if
The
it's
light
within the
pole.
right of way.
Light pole to the street.
Yeah, we can, if it's blocking the right of way, we can.
I think we should be dispatching a grappling truck out there immediately.
And I asked the administrator, and I don't know if you had time yet, can you go back to the other picture? Can the health department get involved in this? Because that surely has rodents in it.
Yeah, so I did reach out to the health department, and there's some collaboration efforts, and we've already talked with Public Works about this particular matter, so.
It sure would be better if we could get a handle on these things before they get to this stage. But we've been dealing with this for a year, and it's just mind-boggling that when I saw this picture, I'm driving it tomorrow. I couldn't believe it, because this is just south of Mile Stretch in Holiday. So I wanted to share that with you. Yours.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bradford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, congratulations to the various awards and appointments that my fellow board members got. I think it's absolutely wonderful, the bigger footprint that we have. The better. I was out of town a significant part of last week, so I missed several events. The one I really did not want to miss was the ground cutting ceremony of the new fire station. However, I gave my word to a group of people, and I always keep my word. And it was about dogs, cats, food, delivering thousands of pounds of food that we collected through Rotaries at a Toyota dealership and a Honda dealership. And we were able to There we go. That's at the Toyota dealership. There's a guy on the right you might know, some of our staff members. My lovely wife's next to me. There's me and my new Marine Corps haircut, which I was not in the Marines. So all the players we loaded up there. Got a next picture. So there's our staff on the left, volunteers on the right, some PR people from Toyota. Very exciting. By the way, it's $46,000 for that Toyota 4Runner.
Oh, you got
Which I looked at.
$46,000 of food.
And then we shifted down to the Honda dealership. That's the general manager of Honda, and thanked him for his service. Collecting more, so it's in the back, it's on the side. Shout out to Honda, as one of my daughters bought a car there, so I started out with that. That kind of maybe helped. But so they picked up all the food yesterday, and our code enforcement, or our animal control, animal support services will be delivering that throughout the county for neighborhoods and people who just can't afford to feed their pets. And if they can't feed their pets and they turn them into the shelters, it puts a burden on us, and generally, you know, sooner or later, if they're not adopted out, you know what happens. So that was my commitment. So I appreciate the I appreciate everybody stepping up to the plate. Thank you.
Great job. Let me go to Commissioner Oakley, and I'll come back to Commissioner Starkey. Commissioner Oakley, another item?
I've been here 6 years, and I've been working on permitting issues and things to go through our permitting department. And for 6 years, I've heard from many, many people that they would no longer do business in Pasco County because they can't get a permit through our department. Now, I know there's issues that some people, when they do their pre-app, they come back and start doing their projects. And there's some information sometimes that doesn't get to our people, the staff, somehow through the Acela system. The comment's been sent back, and they're right there in Acela, but they can't get them out of there. So I always hear how long it takes to get a permit. It's just continuously. And I'm just tired of it. I think it's time we need to really do something in that department to straighten it up, because it hadn't changed. I've been there 6 years working hard. I have even a quarterly meeting with the group so people can come in, contractors come in and work out their issues here at the courthouse to try to get their permits moving smoothly. And don't get me wrong, some of them are the citizens that don't put the right information in or don't give us all the information. I'd hear that. But something's wrong with when they first have their pre-app meeting for any small or large, whatever it is that they're putting in for a pre-app meeting. We're not informing them or giving them the right guidelines to get through the system. Because many times they come back, oh, well, I've been waiting 3 months. Well, they've either put their information in and staff is not picking it up, or they've come up with these ideas that they just don't get the right information, or they get more information after they put their information in. So it's just continuous. And I'm just tired of dealing with it. The calls that we get, I think y'all get the same kind of calls I get. Continuously, we need to have some changes. So it's got to happen. Can't go any longer. I've been here 6 years with it. I don't want to go another 2 or 3 years or 6 more years with that. So I want it corrected. Pasco County is going to be a premier county. It's got to deal with its public and make sure they get the right information in. And if we're not doing a good job pre-app, I guess that's part of our fault that we're not getting it right. But somebody's got to give them the right information, and of course we got to receive. One issue was staff's waiting on comments, and they've been put in through the Acela from the public side, and nobody in staff can read it or see it. Don't know where it's at, and goes on for 3 months like that. But that's just one example, but there's many examples just like that. all over our county. And it just needs to stop. So I don't know what we have to do, but we need to do something.
Commissioner Waitman?
Thank you. Yeah, I echo Commissioner Oakley. I haven't brought it forward yet, Mr. Cavallo and team, but I'm compiling a workable file folder of examples of what Commissioner Oakley's describing and steps within the process where they seem to be failing. Real life examples, not just constructive criticism that the public shares with us. So definitely second Commissioner Oakley. And before we adjourn, Commissioner Starkey didn't mention it, but it's important, she works very hard for us at the Association of Counties, and wanted to recognize her for being appointed to the board of directors and representing Pasco at a national level. So they work very hard to get there, and very passionate about the organization, and I just think it's important that everybody know that you've climbed the ladder.
I'm not sure it was a good idea, but.
So I thought you were going to talk about permitting a little bit. But,
Yeah, no, I just figured that get done and move away.
And Commissioner Oakley, I share your sentiments. My assistant Sonia, she takes care of my calendar, and I try to have her take care of permitting issues. It is such a burden to follow up over and over with these projects that are going on for different reasons coming in.
Well, we end up spending a lot of our time on following issues like that, and it should be right the first time.
And the use of time and money for what they do, and I'm going to bring up something to my items about a license and maintenance agreement, that it had to take 40 hours of staff time over a simple piece of land that the community had been taking care of for many, many years, and they wanted to change the landscaping on it. And they're going to charge them $1,200. Matter of fact, they're holding, Mike's got a check in his pocket now for $1,200 because I didn't want them to have to pay any money to get this resolved, but I'll be bringing that up. But I've got a lot of faith that Mike is going to jump in, and he's already started some changes, but it's something is near and dear to, I think, myself, and I know Commissioner Stark have been dealing with him as well, to get people through the process. I don't know if it takes more people in the office to greet people. Maybe we need someone to actually take an application that comes in. Forget these pre-app meetings, because it certainly seems to be slowing things down. Get a person to take the application, let's go take a look at it, and let that person then walk it through and set up some type of new system. But continually, the things that are going on, I'll give you an example I was going to talk about later on. There's a Lynx MPUD that's coming in. I looked at the data to what's submitted to the conditions of making it a full submittal, and 6 months later, they still haven't made a decision that you have to go through the full submitted yet. And I'll talk about that in the mind. But I think we definitely need some action.
Yeah, I have a constituent, and I just sent some information to Sally. I forgot to do it yesterday. Been trying to get his CO since October. He is a pharmacy who is tasked with, I think it's Baycare, and he's got a lot of patients who need his prescriptions. And now granted, I think he moved into a building that wasn't suited for what he's doing, but I think he's worked real hard to comply with everything, and that's been since October. So I'm hoping that we could see what's going on there, and I'm gonna look at his timeline.
It's just too long.
But it just takes too long. I mean, it's too long. I wanted to add something that I forgot, and that is on the 20th of March, when we did our International Trade Day, we had already invited the police folks up for that date in February, but we realized we just didn't have all our ducks in a row, but they already had their tickets to come. So we went ahead and did our proclamation and, did our, showed them around. But we are gonna have our big event at the Barnett Starkey Market on March 20th, and there'll be the businesses in Pasco County that deal with international trade there. Tourism will be there, and our commissioners are all invited. You'll get an invitation, and some of the administration there to come to the event. We will be having an auction, a live auction, and the proceeds will go to, not a live auction, there's be a couple baskets that the Rotary, some Rotaries are donating. I'm donating one, and there's one other one.
Silent auction.
Yeah, silent auction. The money will go towards building a kitty for our students in Pasco County who want to participate in the international program. You know, we have one with Germany where they send us students and we are supposed to send students back, but historically we didn't have the funds to send our students over and they need a little help. And the only one I am aware of right now is the one in Germany, but if anyone knows any others, let us know. But this will be run through I think it's the Newport Richey Rotary, because they have some kind of international program. So that's where the money will end up, but it will go to help our students be involved in international events. So I hope that you might consider coming, and you'll get an invitation.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, no, one more thing on what you were saying, I'm sorry. I've been meaning to bring this up for a month.
You got off the subject.
It
so.
used to be that there was some staff over here, that if people were doing developments on the east side, they could come in and talk to them, especially people like Denise. And so I've been asked, and maybe you guys have too, if someone could please come back here, and there could be that opportunity for people who want to talk about issues that they're having over here, not have to drive all the way over. So I talked to Denise, and she said she would be willing to, like, on the days that they have MPOs over here or meetings here, that she
It doesn't matter. They won't come because the fact of it is, quarterly, ever since I've been a commissioner, I've had a quarterly meeting with business services. Sally's been here, Esther's been here, one of the inspectors, one or two of the inspectors. We've had them here, and we have solved some issues, but nobody comes. But then they're the first ones to pick the phone up and tell us how bad things are. So, I mean, it's just a never-ending cycle unless we change the way we do things on the intro of a new project and how they can get their permits done. Something just to be better, to be easier for our people to be able to do their projects or get them started on permitting. Because, I mean, it just continues.
Well, Denise was willing to come, you know, a little earlier and have open time for people that had issues. One of the things I was hearing was driveway
We have a whole
permits.
afternoon.
Huh?
We have a whole afternoon quarterly, right here in this building, right here.
And that's zoning?
But I think what the commissioner is referring to here is an opportunity for Denise to provide additional customer service to folks and to be available. I think
Yeah.
Commissioner,
So-
what you're
Yeah,
referring
but-
to is a meeting
right.
with development services that obviously is not bearing the fruit that you think it needs to see.
And
So-
she is one of the first people I call about any zoning issues.
We need 3 Denises,
Yeah.
that's what so.
If you know where they are, we'll hire them.
Yeah. Oh, and as we were talking about grants and working on the budget, one of the things that the administrator has talked about, and I just want to reiterate it, is that, and what other counties do is they have a grants department, and I talked about it with one of your staff members today. It's a grants department and a grant fulfillment within that department, so that will be a budget head in some form or fashion. But I think the return on investment on that will be significant.
Don't we have that already?
Nope.
I mean, we have grant writers, I mean,
We're looking at realigning how we do that business to provide more focus, I guess, would be the
Yeah.
right
Okay.
term, to make sure that we're aligned with goals, objectives of the overall county, and making sure that we're pushing forward on those things.
I did tour the mosquito facility, and that was an amazing tour, by the way. And we're gonna hook them up with AmSkills, because they make, you saw, they make all their stuff. And they need skilled labor over there, so we're gonna hook them up.
Okay. All right, County Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of quick things. First, I would like to recognize Troy Lamson of our lead animal care tech, who actually received a Lifetime Achievement Award at this year's Florida Animal Control Association conference. So congrats to Troy. That's fantastic. And also, out at our parks, 5 of our beaches now in West Pasco now feature Moby mats, which help people with difficulty walking actually get out and to be able to enjoy the beaches. So I think that's a positive thing. I was prepared to talk a little bit about Leisure Beach if you want.
Go ahead.
Certainly. So, it came to our attention that we've got some civic associations that want to beautify their community, and these communities are located within their rights of way, within county-owned rights of way. And as such, whenever there's work done within a county right of way, we require a right of way use permit. If there's certain improvements, then we want license and maintenance agreements as well, because we need to make sure that everything and liability is taken care of, and that if folks are coming in to plant things, we want to make sure that site triangles and all the technical things are taken care of. In the past, I think there were some different ways of doing things, but when we went forward with a new fee schedule and adopted a new fee schedule, there was about $1,000, I think, or even $1,200 for a right-of-way use permit, license and maintenance agreements that came with that. And so that turned into appearing to be a little bit of a hindrance for a lot of these, what I would call legitimate civic associations and HOAs wanting to do the right thing and beautify their community. And so really two things that I would ask the board for today is we had a very specific instance with Leisure Beach community that I would ask that you waive the fees for the license and maintenance agreement and right-of-way costs because they were doing the right thing. But to also have us come back and amend the fee schedule for right-of-way use permits to essentially not charge or minimally charge whatever, there may be some basic intake and administrative costs that would be lower, but to be able to handle that for these civic associations and neighborhood groups that want to do the right thing in their streetscapes and allow us the flexibility to not assess those fees. So just those two separate items, if the board is interested, I would love a motion and direction.
I strongly encourage we do that, because when you get a group like Leisure Beach, and if you saw even the entryway, they make it look really nice. They maintain the grass all the way through. They want to come in and do landscaping. They were going to spend, I think, $5,000 on plants and trees and whatever all the way through. And I said, look, I appreciate you doing that for our right-of-way to make your community look better, but I've even got a landscaping grant that I want to see. It took about 2 months of time for Colleen to go back and forth between getting an answer from staff to what the permit was going to be, what the cost was going to be, how did it get all done, and then the final thing, not only was it the $50 fee, but the $1,200 on top of that, and they were just getting frustrated. It was during American cleanup. That's when they wanted the time battle up. So we're trying to make it all, get citizens to take care of their properties for us. I think it's a great thing. They want to make the community look better. It's a good thing, right? Instead of dealing with code like you would got to deal with in that situation. So I would love to see a motion that we.
So what's the motion you need?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So really two things. One, for the case of this Leisure Beach right-of-way permit, that the board waive the fees associated with that action. And then secondly, to direct us to go back and amend the fee schedule for civic associations, HOAs that want to do beautification projects and right-of-ways, that we can either reduce or eliminate the fee. I would want staff to look at.
Yeah.
Eliminate. We have this problem with Gulf Harbors.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Have a motion?
I'll second it.
I have a second. Any further discussion?
I just commend
What's the motion, to eliminate?
Eliminate.
I took it as eliminate.
Okay,
eliminate and amend.
then I will vote yes.
I appreciate Corbala coming with a tax and fee cut.
There we go, we did it.
I was surprised. So
Better be happy with it.
support the motion.
Do you want a second and I'll withdraw my second?
No, we got it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mike, thank you very much. You jumped on this when you heard about it to go through, and thanks for taking it forward this way. Thank you. And thanks to Nikki Spirito. She did a great job helping us to get the language we needed as well. And Colleen, thank you for doing a great job helping make that happen. And the people went out there, they did the work, and I told them now to go apply for the grant, so thank you. Anything else? Okay. County Attorney.
I don't have anything for you today.
Okay, thank you. Clerk and Comptroller.
Yes, one thing, Mr. Goder was talking about how the tourism is back into normal here in Pasco County. I can tell you that passport applications in my office are record numbers. We held a Saturday event because my offices are usually closed on the weekends. So we held a Saturday event this past Saturday for 4 hours. And within that 4 hours, we had a record number of passport applications, 309 passport applications. And that's processing about 77 applications an hour. The line here in Dade City was out of the office, down the hall, and to the stairwell in the government center. Yes. And the question I usually get when I'm out and about is, what is the turnaround time for the passport agency to process passports? So I can give that information. A routine passport is between 8 to 11 weeks right now, which is actually pretty good considering the volume that is being sent to them. And then expedited is between 5 to 7 weeks, so you have to pay extra fee for expedited. Now, there is a way to get it even sooner for, let's say, urgent travel, which is a non-emergency case. You need to go in an emergency and get that. You have to go to the actual passport agency. So the closest one is either Miami or Atlanta. And you can get one on an urgent basis within 14 business days. Or let's say there is an emergency situation, they'll process it within 3 days.
So is that the same for renewal?
No, renewal you mail in, so you can mail in your renewals.
But what's the turnaround time?
For renewals, I don't know the turnaround time. I'm assuming that it is the same as doing it routine, but I am not certain.
And so something to know about the passport, because I have this coming up on mine, is that mine expires, I think, in December. But there are some countries who won't let you in if you're within 6 months.
That's correct.
I've got a trip in April and a few out of the country coming up, and I've got to get mine renewed.
I'll look for the renewal turnaround time, and I'll let you know.
Thank you. And so also somehow I am flagged, and every time I leave a country, I have to go talk to somebody. I don't know what's going on with me, but apparently I'm a terrorist suspect.
Did she say she was on a terrorist watch list?
I don't know, I don't know.
I don't know how it happened. I am not happy about it, and I have complained to Homeland Security.
Anything else?
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Literally.
And so they put second star next to your name.
I gotta go speak to
You
somebody.
need to adjourn on that.
I have some pictures to show. I'll probably go in line with where the pictures fall out in my items. All that's coming up, I'm going to nominate Commissioner, I'm going to appoint Commissioner Bradford to the canvassing board.
Oh, that's fine. Are we waiting for something?
I think
I get some pictures.
I think you already made him the alternate. He'll just move up.
No step, okay. All right, so last week we went down to Pinellas County to take a look at their central energy plant. It was really interesting. They've had this since 2015. It's a chiller plant. And Eric, if you would come up and describe the trip and what we're going to be looking at for down the road.
Certainly. Good morning.
To the best you can. We're still getting a lot of information.
Not a problem. Eric Breitenbach, Assistant County Administrator for Internal Services. Had the pleasure of accompanying Chairman Mariano, Andrew Baxter, and a couple other folks from Pasco County. Went down to visit with Trane in their central energy plant that they have downtown Pinellas, or Clearwater area. It's pretty innovative concept they have, where they have one building that provides the chilled water for about 7 buildings that are in the downtown area. And quite frankly, they've even partnered with a a condominium complex to be able to provide the chilled water for that facility as well. This is a very well maintained and run facility. It's about 8 years old, and it has promise and something we're going to be looking at to do here in Pasco County as well, in some other area. It's
I think Water Street does that too. They have a central chiller for most of their buildings in downtown.
The gentleman that designed and helped construct this was Trane. He's responsible for 8 or 9 different chiller plants like this in and around the Tampa area, and so he was describing how with each successive one he's taken the lessons learned and improved his design. However, it has, we still have to run the numbers and do the calculations, but it does have the potential opportunity for significant energy or electricity savings if we're able to do something similar to this. I'm thinking at the West Pasco Government Center or maybe even other areas around the area. Yes, ma'am. Also, that's a good candidate is the Land O'Lakes Public Safety Campus. So we'll be evaluating this in the future. It was a wonderful trip and pretty impressive operation to have going on there.
Eric, I want to thank you and Andrew for going down. It's one of those times, you get an idea, you run it by staff, see what they think, and Andrew and Eric said they want to go down and take a look at it right away, so we went down there, took a look at it, we were very impressed with everything, and I think it'd be a great opportunity, so
yes, sir.
Thank you for that. All right, next set of pictures. you have more pictures? I probably have 5 different slides coming up. There's a picture of Sunwest Park. There's my mother on the lower right, frankly. She went there for the lobster roll from the Got Lobster people. Love that. That was a nice little setup there for
Look at that.
drinks out there, yeah. A little elevated bar. And the place was a really, I tell you, Andrew Caceres has done a great job over the years, improving and improving and improving, but we still have Lime Rock there, which we'll talk about in a minute. There's the lake. And it was packed. The bands were great. I didn't get there Saturday. I was moving my daughter from Lakeland to over to Odessa, but I got there yesterday. Sunday. It was like packed. Everybody said it was just a blast.
My brother went, and it was his first time at the park, and he said it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's great.
So I will say what I'm going to be looking at for down the road is that as we go spend some money out there, they're talking about putting paving out there. I don't think we should put the full paving in with the medians, et cetera. Let's just put a base skim coat on. I think through zoning, it's coming up very soon. We already did the land use change to bring a hotel and a restaurant out there, but if we would just put a skim coat of asphalt out there, it'll make it better for the next year or two until the new guys come in, and then they can cut out what they want to cut out without spending a lot of extra money. This is a picture at Starkey Park where the opioid awareness walk was going on. I guess it's the second annual. Pastor Estelle from Calvary Church, so is marching forward to stomp out opioid addiction. I will tell you, it was something else to talk to so many people that are directly involved and been affected by the opioid crisis. You know, we've heard for years, there's Pastor Estelle on the right, for years about what we're doing, all the treatments. Actually talked to a lady who was knocked out. Narcan saved her life about 2 years ago, and she's thriving, thriving citizen, doing great. Talked to a mother who lost a son, other family members in the same scenario, and people making comebacks. So I am excited to what she's trying to do. She's actually put a plan forward. I wanted her to have a chance to go present to the opioid task force, but they want to wait to do RFPs. I'm going to say we've known for 6 months, we've got a lot of money coming in. There's different programs going out there. I think it benefits the opioid task force to hear from anybody who wants to hear something, even going through the process. And Kathy, if you want to come on up for a minute, but I think we've had so much time. I know we want to make sure we get money spent the right way, done the right things, but I've got a lady, a pastor from a church that serves 5,000 people, that has people directly affected by it, that she wants to get started, as opposed to taking this long bureaucratic process. So at least, and if this church wants to do it, and other churches want to do it, there's enough money coming in, I think, to let's get out there, the outreach, the counseling that can be going on for these people. That alone is a value. Handing out Narcan maybe at the church, if that's what they want to go do, is a benefit to people. I mean, literally that one lady I talked to just really touched me that this saved her life. And now she's thriving. So many times you think, okay, what's going to happen to do it again? No, this lady bounced back. She hit bottom and she came back. And a lot of these people are making comebacks or know family members that have suffered so badly. So Kathy, if you would, let's go talk about what the committee's doing, because I do want to see this presentation done before them. And if we need to get a board motion to go do it, so be it, but I want to see faster action.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate the diligence.
Commissioner, thank you. So Paula Baracado is the chair of our opioid task force, and a lot of the members, just to brief you all, have been selected by a lot of you to serve on that. It has been a year. We just re-elected or reappointed Paula to do the chair again. We did receive our first money in February. It was $945,367,000. We just got that money. There is a board meeting. The opioid task force is meeting on March 27th at 10 a.m. and they are going to begin the process of, we got to get this money out. There is about $7,951,000 that we still have not received. The first part of the money of the 945 was from the county, city pot of money. This next one is from the regional. We're expected to get that by the year end. We have no idea when it is coming. So the committee, their thought is we want to give the biggest bang for our buck. Whatever the committee decides to do, the final decision will become before all of you. Just as we do on all our other CDBG grants, we make the recommendations, we do the RFPs, we bring them to you. So I know at the next opioid task force meeting, they are going to begin to see what we can do about this $945,000. I think we had talked about, we want the biggest bang for our buck. Do we want a whole bunch of people coming and collecting small bits of dollars, or do we want to do big bang with big dollars? So I've talked to each of you individually, and we've gotten some feedback. I think we can do both. And so what we're hoping to do, and I think Paula is on board with trying to push this committee to at least start getting maybe some small RFPs with a small amount of money and get this thing going. Commissioner Mariano, you're absolutely correct. The opioid is a problem. It's a huge problem, and it's not just here, but you know, the fentanyl, all of it. And I think we just met with Tracy Cowley today from Baycare. She's amazing. She's talking about putting an urgent walk-in clinic in one of her facilities coming up. So we've got some great plans for this money, and I'll take any questions if you want.
And I'll just go a little further. One of the things, this pastor has submitted a plan, a project with a lot of good ideas. Some of them just in there as far as counseling goes, preventive, like going to the schools, talking to the kids. Maybe it's in Sunday school, maybe it's in a regular school, I don't know. But at least if you hear the presentation, it might even give more ideas to go forward as they get ready to make the allocations, make recommendations. I mean, granted, I know it's coming back to us, but again, after a year's time, first money's coming in, just seeing this with real people just pouring their hearts out as far as what they've gone through. Commissioner Bradford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kathy, I remember the briefings that you've been giving me, and correct me if I have blurred the lines or I don't correctly remember. Is there an attorney assigned to the money to see if it's spent within guidelines?
Absolutely. So Jordan Wolfgram works for Jeff. She's been side by side with us all the way on this. She comes to every task board meeting. She's at every meeting, and so yes, she is definitely on top of it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And thank you, Jeff, for signing Jordan.
Okay. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
If I can follow up on the commissioner's question, but you've set up a process. We were required to have the opioid task force to get this money. I would discourage the commission from taking it away from them and giving the money out to whoever. The RFP process was the way that makes this competitive to anybody who has a plan. There are some of the board members who have said they're looking for brick and mortar, and they want it to be a large contribution. They don't want the money piecemealed. So, you know, if you start breaking it off and giving it to worthy causes, that money's not going to be there to build a facility.
So let me be clear as far as what I'm asking for. When we had the Restore Act committee solved up, we had the survey committee, we had presentations done over and over. The RFP process wasn't there. We looked at project to project. They want to do RFPs, so be it, but I don't think an RFP necessarily is the only way to go about it. And I think if you've got people in the community invested into it that want to take a look at it, give them an opportunity to hear what they have to say. It may change the opinion. I think there's going to be so much money coming in, and the way they've categorized it, I mean, I was first a little skeptical with the state, with the money coming in, to have all those controls on it as a settlement, but what they put in place are great programs. And if we can partner with the state, I mean, we should be leveraging the money from the state funds that they get as well, especially with the governor's just put out some great programs too. That could be the way to go. I just don't want to have, let's say, even smaller programs not considered for it. And right now, they're waiting for the RFP process. I think if they get an idea, there's nothing wrong with them hearing an idea what somebody wants to do. It may trigger some other people, some other ideas to come forward as well. It's not a negative to it. I'm not looking to control it. I want to go through the process.
But I'll remind you, on Restore, there was an application process, and there was a ranking process that is very similar to an RFP process. While you took ideas at public comment at each Restore meeting, because you're required to take public comment at any of these meetings, there was a process in place even for Restore that had all the projects graded to see which ones would move forward. I just think that if you're gonna go out on the street, just like with procurement, you don't want to jeopardize the process by having somebody come in and sell their project before everybody else has competition.
So help me with the difference between the Restore, they did presentations, we decided we ranked. Right now, you're telling me it's an RFP process. That sounds different from Restore.
Actually, so when we did Restore, it was less formalized, but we put it out on the street through our website, you'd have to ask Curtis how that reach out was done. But it was put out, and then they were given a certain amount of time to apply. And then those applications were then graded by your team and then brought to the Restore Committee. The difference, I think, with RFP is...
They weren't graded by the team. The committee did the grading.
Well, that's true.
The ranking.
That's true. They were packaged and brought to
Sure,
you.
I could do the process.
Yeah.
So let me stop there. So I just want to make sure, Kathy, that this pastor, other pastors, other groups, et cetera, they come forward. And I want to make sure we're careful with it all, but I want to make sure that they have the opportunity. And right now it looks like, I don't know how long this opportunity is going to take, but I want to get the urgency that I want to get this going fast.
Commissioner, I do not serve on the opioid task force, so I have to deal with Sunshine. I will personally reach out to her and make sure when the application's ready, we will assist her.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair, I have the answer for Commissioner Starkey.
Oh, good. And I have some pictures for you, Jeff.
It
Okay.
is the same time frame. So renewals are the 8 to 11 weeks. 8 to 11 weeks.
So it used to be you could go down, let's say, go to Miami and walk it through in one day. You can't do that anymore?
You have to make an appointment.
Yeah.
And then you can do it that day, but it's going to take 3 days for processing and it has to be on an emergency basis. However, we can talk offline.
Okay.
But that's typical.
I don't want to have to get stuck and live in another country for a while.
All right. Can I have the next set of pictures? Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
I've been meaning to bring this up for a couple of years since our last trip to Germany. Can you show those pictures? And you start talking about SunWest. I said, this is something I think we need to put in SunWest. And we went to visit this when we did our trip to Germany, not last year, but the one before, I guess before COVID. This is a company called Crystal Term, and they build ropes courses without trees. They have them all over the world. If you could show more of the pictures. It's so cool because they're all different sizes and looks, and they can customize it. So this one's in some Oriental community. I think this one's in Korea. That's a really big one. Keep going, but so this one is kind of Western themed, and it's hard to tell, but he's actually on a, what was it? Was that a horse? I don't know, and it zips you through. So this one shows a lot of the different elements that they've added on to that you can add on, and they're customizable. And this company comes to the Orlando Expo every year for the parks equipment, and I don't know what it's called, but I'm sure our staff does. And they always sell their exhibit because they don't want to pack it and take it home. And wouldn't something like that be great for SunWest? I just thought that would be a really good location for something like that. So I keep forgetting, and since it would be something that we might vote on, I couldn't do it privately. So I just wanted to share with everyone. I think this would be great for the west side of the county, since y'all have one on the east side of the county, and it could go in the park. So
Looks great.
I think I may have the brochure in my office, but if not, we visited them with PEDC, so we have,
Excellent.
we
Thank
have
you.
information.
Okay. Do you have any other pictures up there for me? There's the ribbon cutting of the VA outpatient center right down the street.
Oh, did that finally open?
Finally open, yes. We had the ribbon cutting Saturday morning.
Oh, wow.
And I want to tell you, Congressman Mike Bilirakis was there. He was there for, him and his wife were both there, and Gus talked about how his dad started that 40 years ago. They're trying to bring that to Pasco County. And they fought, and that was one of the first things they tried to work on, and Gus carried it on, and finally they had the opening, and I tell you, what a beautiful building. From when I first started, we used to have like vehicles we'd get for the VA, or for the veterans to actually go down to Haley Hospital and back. We'd just supply them. Now our veterans can be taken care of here locally. So for vision, dental, optometry, all sorts of care, and now they can do it here locally. It's a great service for our veterans, a great accomplishment, and the VA is happy because they actually consolidated 4 other buildings to build this one here, so efficiencies are going to be better as well. So I want to thank Congressman Bilirakis for following through and delivering that to us, because it's going to be a great thing. Do you have the next set of pictures? That's all you have? Okay. Well, we had some pictures of the Beaconwood Fire Station. As Commissioner Oakley said, it was a great opening. You know, right next to Gulf Highlands neighborhood, right below Beacon Woods, right close to the HCA hospital. It's going to be a great service, and it's going to definitely help our people, and it's going to be another modernized one that's going to really help our firefighters as well with all sorts of safety accomplishments. And last thing I want to just talk about is, you know, Commissioner Oakley, you talked about permitting, and, you know, we talked about how the license and maintenance agreement we just went through took hours and hours of staff time. And I want to tell you about one that's coming up, the Lynx MPUD. The people have been told all sorts of different things. Staff's had an application since, I believe it's August. And in a change of a MPUD, there's certain requirements. One of them is 1A. It says any change in a site-related condition that was opposed by the BCC at the public hearing. If there's a change there, it's going to be a public hearing, period. They're changing the golf course, the driving range, the roadway. Section N1B, any alteration of use. If you're going to remove a golf course, remove a driving range, it should be a public hearing. N1H, if you reduce a reduction in open space or recreational areas, both recreational space and open areas are reduced or adversely impacted. N1I, any change to a plat approval, change of boundaries of open space and recreational spaces, same thing there. Any change in any aspect, attribute, or future which might adversely impact the site. Stormwater drainage, when you put pine trees in drainage, when a whole neighborhood's designed to take the impact, there's an impact there. When you build within 30 feet of a home, put trees out there, those trees grow up in 30 feet, they can topple over or they catch fire real quick, there's an impact. People paid a premium to buy those houses in the golf course. All those things said and done, staff's got to move quicker in these things. That's all I want to say. And that's all I have, so we'll take a break for lunch.
Thank you. Okay.
We have a meeting? Are you in there? Okay, I just have to run down and switch my car. They're here to take my car.
Aquatic animals. Storm drains are meant for clean. If you suspect Pasco County Department of Public Works, 834-3611.
Welcome to another episode of Aging on the Suncoast. I'm your host, Jason Martino. So each and every year, hurricane season starts on June 1st and lasts through November 30th. While we prepare for all potential hazards, it's extremely important that we spend time preparing for both our county's biggest threat, a hurricane. Back in 2017, both Pinellas and Pasco dodged the massive bullet called Hurricane Irma. Then in 2018, our Panhandle experienced the incredible force of Hurricane Michael. Long-term recovery efforts are still occurring today. Because we've been fortunate, it doesn't mean we stop preparing. This is especially true for the senior population that resides in either Pasco or Pinellas counties. Today's focus is going to be on hurricane planning for independent and homebound seniors. To assist our viewers understand planning and reduce vulnerability, we've invited Jess McCracken, the whole community specialist with Pinellas County Emergency Management, and Andy Fossa, the director of the Pasco County Department of Emergency Management. Today our guests will help shed light on important senior preparedness information. Jess, welcome to Aging on the Suncoast.
Thank you for having me.
Sure, and Andy, welcome to Aging on the Suncoast as well.
Thank you, sir.
So let's talk hurricanes and preparedness. And before we really start talking about it, I want to kind of throw it out there is that what we've seen as professionals in this field for some time now is because we haven't been directly hit for close to over 100 years or so that we see a little bit of complacency. And so we are always trying to mitigate that complacency and encourage people to do the right thing, which is prepare. The second thing that we've seen in the last probably 3 to 5 years is a pretty big influx of people moving to our area from the northern states, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, all of them. And while they may prepare for some of the hazards that they lived through during that time, they certainly haven't prepared yet for a hurricane season. So we want to also encourage them to do the right thing as well. So Jess, I'm going to start with you. What's the first thing that people do when they're getting into a mode that they're trying to start their planning for hurricane season?
Well, when preparing for hurricane season, we really want you to know your risk, make a plan, and stay informed. And knowing your risk means knowing your evacuation zone and understanding that mobile home communities will always be asked to evacuate in an evacuation order. And once you know your risk, then it's easier to go ahead and make that plan. And making your plan should include knowing where you're going to go during an evacuation, having all of your supplies ready for your emergency kit, and communicating all of that information with your family so they know where you are in an evacuation, especially in situations where communication's lost. And finally, staying informed is very important on both sides, communicating with your family, but also having 2 trusted sources of information, whether it's media, our websites, and taking advantage of those to keep yourself informed during storm season.
Absolutely. And we're going to go over a little bit later all those resources where they can get a hold of all that information on there. Andy, does it look any different in Pasco County?
No, sir. The biggest thing that we look at is, as Jess said, 2 bits of information that are trustworthy. Another item is that complacency, not only with the Floridians that are here now, but the Northerners that have come down, they get complacent because nothing has ever really happened. We get bits and pieces of storms that go by, but they think I can outride the storm, and that is not true. Right. Especially in the coastal areas, the mobile home communities, they need to be diligent on watching the weather and the weather reports and go tens of miles. You don't have to evacuate hundreds of miles. Go somewhere with other family members further inland, but you don't have to clog the roads up trying to go from here to Georgia. Yep. So keep it close.
It's funny you said that because I made a massive mistake by going to Georgia during Irma. I took a little pressure from, I'll just say, a family member that was a little nervous during that time, and we ended up in Georgia. And getting back was less than fun. So you're exactly right. Staying close but safe is definitely a good goal. So Andy, we talked about those vulnerable communities. How do people in Pasco County find out what evac level they are?
So we have the Pasco County Disaster Guide, which is online. It shows a map of it. They also have the ability to go to the mypasco.net website. We have it there. And then there's a public side of something called Pasco Mapper. And they can go onto that website and it pulls up the maps and it'll actually show you your evacuation zone.
You gotta love 21st century technology. It makes things just so much easier.
Yes, sir, compared to the paper and pen days, yes.
And Jess, what about Pinellas? What are the different avenues people can take to find out their evac level?
Very similar with Pasco. We have it in our hurricane guide. You can also go to our website to check your evacuation zone. And with the evacuation zone changes, it's very important that people do check their evacuation zone so they know what to incorporate into their plan. You can check storm.pinellascounty.org, and that gives you a side-by-side map, and it'll show what your evacuation zone was before and what it's been changed to if it's been changed.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Certainly our show is geared towards helping seniors, those with disabilities, and caregivers prepare. Caregivers are taking care of a lot of our vulnerable seniors as well. And not all seniors live in our community in a home or an apartment. A lot of our seniors in Pasco and Pinellas County, they live in an assisted living facility or they live in a skilled nursing facility. But Jess, am I incorrect by saying that these types of institutions don't have plans and residents should know what those plans are?
So these facilities are required by law to have an emergency plan, including where the residents will go and how they will get there. So it's really important that those residents have those conversations and understand the plans, not only to manage their expectations during an emergency, but also to communicate that information to family members, especially, again, if we lose communications during a storm, then your family's going to know where you are and that you're safe.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're beating the drum about communicating.
Absolutely.
I beat the same drum when I'm in the community, is to communicate your plans to your family members. Some of those family members can also probably talk to those institutions and find out what it is, because maybe mom and dad may not be capable of understanding what those are. Same thing in Pasco County, Andy?
Yes, sir. One of the big things that we also need to reiterate is if we move a family member from a nursing home into a special needs shelter and they have a specialized care that they need to provide a caregiver for that citizen, that patient. Because when you're in that special needs shelter, the staffing that is in there will not be capable of taking care of every single citizen that's in there. So we try to embed into these skilled facilities that if you're going to send somebody that needs a specialized care, a caregiver or a family member needs to be there with them.
It's imperative.
Yes, sir.
I totally agree with you. So let's talk about options, because the counties are good enough to provide options for people. And certainly the options are staying home or going to a general population shelter or special needs, such as what Andy brought up. So if I were a consumer, a resident of Pasco County, and I elected to stay home because I thought it was a good idea at the time, what are the things that I need to be thinking about in order to make my staying at home journey as safe and comfortable as possible?
So you have to prepare. You have to prepare food for yourself, non-perishable foods. Make sure you have enough water. Your go kits. A very big thing is go kits. In case you do have to leave, it's imperative that you have your insurance papers, your medications, important documents. Another big thing is if you're forced to evacuate, take pictures of your valuables. Insurance companies are getting really, really big on, well, you said you had a 55-inch TV. I want to see a picture of it, and have those documents with you. If you choose to stay home, make sure your house is boarded up. Make sure you have everything in place. Anything that could be a flying missile is removed. And then if you're going to stay indoors. People have to remember, when that storm passes through, you're going to get a lull. And when that lull, that does not mean the storm is over. That means the eye is passing over you. Still stay inside and then ride out the backside of the storm.
Yep, that's good ideas, and also a good tip about taking video, or that I've walked around my house with my smartphone and just taken a video of everything rather than just the pictures all the time. But you're absolutely right. Insurance is not going to help cover what they don't believe may not be there. So
correct.
Anything different in Pinellas County, Jess?
I think you covered it pretty much, but to reiterate with the insurance side of it, definitely set yourself up for success.
Yeah.
So you can help that adjuster come claim time have all that information and help you get recovered.
Yeah, and I guess I just add that if you have the means to hurricane-proof mitigate your home, then that's certainly something that you should take a look at, bracing those doors, especially the garage door, maybe investing in some good impact-resistant types of windows, hurricane straps for the roof and all. That would make you feel a heck of a lot more comfortable in there, because the entry points for some of those strong winds are in some of our old housing stock in Pinellas and Pasco County are tremendous, you know. Jess, let's talk about options that if somebody said, I don't feel safe staying home and I'm deciding that I'm going to go somewhere else? What are their options? What does that look like for them?
So there's a few different options. You know, we will always open public shelters in a storm when there's an actual evacuation order needed, but shelter should be a last resort. Now, we don't want you to not evacuate. We want you to stay safe. So if you have to go to a shelter, make those arrangements and plan for that. But the recommended option is to try to stay with a family member or a friend that lives in a non-evacuation zone. Or you can look into hotels, motels, Airbnbs, again in a non-evacuation zone, but have 2 backup plans if you're going to do something like that. Make sure that they take pets if you're going to have your furry babies with you, and know what those plans are during blue skies. Don't be making those arrangements when the storm's barreling down on us.
Yep, and communicate, right?
Right, and communicate.
And thanks for bringing up the pets, because we're going to talk about that a little bit later. There's tons of options that people can take a look at into preparing for their pets, and we have a wealth of seniors that have something that's furry or may have feathers or something of that nature that they're just as important as a family member on there. So Andy, what if they are going to leave in your county? You obviously offer some different options. Does it look the same as it does in Pinellas County?
Pretty much so. We still like to reiterate, like Jess said, that instead of going to a shelter, try to find a family member like the hotel or an Airbnb. Because folks need to remember, you're not walking into a hotel when you go into a shelter.
Yeah.
You're walking into a 20 by 20 space that's going to hold your family, and it's going to be extremely crowded. So we prefer that you find families that are not in evacuation zone, friends, whatever it may be. But if you have to go to the shelter, prepare. It's not a hotel. You're going to be in some dismal conditions. I have to say it like that.
Lifeboat versus cruise ship, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Pasco County, as long as I've worked with you all, and in Pinellas County, we have, and you brought it up earlier, the term special needs shelter. What is a special needs shelter?
So special needs shelter is specifically designed for citizens that do not have the capability to take care of themselves. They're not hospitalized patients, but they're patients that are elderly that need certain types of care. They might be oxygen dependent, they might be electrical dependent, and that's the basic need for that shelter. It's not a place to bring somebody that needs a high acuity care, because we do not have the ability to do that in there. That's why I said earlier, if you're going to bring somebody in into specialized care, you need to bring either a caregiver or a family member to take care of them. But this is basically for people for disabilities, mental conditions, O2 conditions, and electrical dependency.
All right.
For in there.
Is there a process for negotiating if that's the most appropriate for them?
Yes, when they fill their special needs form out, there's a bank of questions, and once that comes into our EOC, it's vetted by our special needs coordinator or our end that we had as a volunteer at one time, and they'll make the determination if they have the ability to be housed there or they're going to need to find another place to reside them.
And that's super helpful, because that consumer may be filling out the questions on there, but maybe special needs is not the appropriate place for them. Maybe they need to go somewhere that can handle a higher acuity of care. What does that look like in Pinellas County, Jess? Is it similar to Pasco?
Very similar program. I will say that if you are going to special needs shelter, to bring that medical equipment, anything that you use on a daily basis to keep yourself safe and healthy. There are some supplies available there, but it's not going to be enough for everybody. So again, set yourself up for success and bring those things with you.
A to-go kit, just like
Absolutely.
Andy had brought up before, making sure that you have things you need at home and that you would bring later. Medications is obviously super important. So before we end the first half of the show, we have a wealth of seniors that do live in the community in a home or apartment, and a lot of them receive help from home health care, coming in there to help them out with their activities of daily living. What should people know about the companies that provide that care for them?
Well, definitely ask the real questions and get a good understanding of what that continuity of care plan is going to look like. And it's recommended to ask for a copy of their plan to compare it to your personal plan. That way there's no surprises. You know that you're on the same page and everybody knows what to expect.
That's such good information, because we deal with a wealth of people that live in all sorts of different environments. Thanks so much for coming on the show, and we'll have you back for the second half of that. Please stay with us while we take a short break. As usual, don't forget to have a pen or pencil ready. During the break and at the end of our show, we'll be highlighting important information covering both Pasco and Pinellas County's disaster preparation resources. When we come back, we'll explore more senior preparedness ideas.
Many of us don't want to believe that elder abuse, neglect, or exploitation can happen to a family member, a friend, or even ourselves. Elder abuse is a growing problem and is severely underreported. Many victims are reluctant to report due to fear, embarrassment, shame, or guilt. In order to prevent elder abuse, we must take action. Don't be afraid to talk about the issue and report it to the Florida Abuse Hotline at 1-800-962-2873. Together, we can make a difference.
Welcome back to Aging on the Suncoast. During the first half of the show, Jess McCracken and Andy Fossa helped us understand senior disaster preparation and sheltering options. So let's continue this conversation and talk about other simple ways we can prepare. Jess, Andy, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, you all provided such good information on the first half of the show, and we're going to continue that. And we're going to probably talk about a little, some of the little microcosms that people are faced with when it comes to planning and all that. So Andy, I'm going to start with you. Medications is inevitable in our senior population. Many of our seniors are taking on average between 4 and 5 medications to combat whatever is ailing them at that time. How do seniors and or individuals with disabilities or caregivers plan for the need for medications during times of a hurricane?
So it's always, as we preach, it's always good to be prepared. So with medications, you have your normal daily 30-day supply, 90-day supply, whatever it may be. However, when we're being threatened by a storm, the federal government, back with Katrina, went ahead and enacted a new law that gives pharmacies the ability to give you a 30-day emergency supply of the medications. So it's best to get with your doctor, it's best to get with your pharmacy, and go ahead and prepare for that. They're not going to give it to you under a blue sky day, normal day, but if we have an imminent storm coming in, the pharmacies will fulfill that obligation.
Yep, you're totally right. And we found that pharmacists are a good resource, even in the blue skies, because somebody can go there and they can get a running list of what they have. I couldn't remember all the different meds I was taking if I was taking 6 or 7, nor the intervals I was taking it. Does it look any different in Pinellas County, Jess?
Nope, it's pretty much the same, but take into consideration any medications that need to be refrigerated.
Good point.
That's a very big thing that you would need to plan for.
Yep.
So generator or ice packs, something like that.
Yep, and part of your to-go kit or your stay-at-home kit, making sure that you have a way to refrigerate or keep that refrigeration on there as well. Excellent point. Jess, let's stay with you and let's talk about what we kind of brought up very lightly during the first half of the show. We talked about pets. Many of our seniors out there, they have pets with scales, pets with hair, pets with feathers, and these pets are seen just like children or grandchildren. Matter of fact, we've seen some cases where if they didn't think there was arrangements for their pets, they were going to stay home, and that wasn't the best case scenario for them. So what does pet preparation look like in Pinellas County?
Like you said, pets are part of our family, so preparing for your pets, very similar to preparing for yourself. You want to know where they're going to be going if they're not going to be staying with you. Preparing their go kit, so their crate, collar, leash, medications, food, and a comfort item, especially if you're going to be going to one of our pet-friendly shelters. Registration isn't required for the pet-friendly shelters, but be prepared to care for your pet. They're not going to be in the same area with you, but you will need to walk them, feed them, and Animal Services is on hand at the pet-friendly shelters to keep all the common areas clean. So that is an option for you.
Yeah, and I think that's very tangential to what Andy was saying, is that while the county is providing a great amount of resources, we can't meet all the needs. So the consumers, or the residents, have to do their part by helping to take care of it. Does it look the same in Pasco County as well, Andy?
Yep, it sure does. The only thing that we require, and Jess pretty much covered everything, was that they have to bring their vaccination records with them in order to get in the shelter. If you bring an animal to the shelter, they have to have their vaccinations, or the shelter has the choice of not to take them.
Yeah, but no registration, no pre.
No, sir.
Okay, that's good stuff to know. All right, so you guys, in addition to providing the options for where people can shelter and encouraging them to do the right things, you have so many logistics going on as well. And one of the things that's probably maddening is the development of your hurricane guide, but once it's out there, it's such a good guide. I've seen it 1,000 different times. I use it. I put it in our many of our consumers' hands as well. Andy, where can people find these hurricane guides in Pasco County?
So they can find them a couple of places. One, mypasco.net website. We have it on there on the emergency management page. And we also have guides at emergency management, and we distribute them to the elderly population, especially the high hazard vulnerability zone. We actually mail them to each resident out there.
Get out of here.
No, sir. We actually do that. Our guide is a little bit different than the standard guide. We kind of broke away from the Tampa Bay Region Planning Council, and we did our own thing. So ours doesn't only encompass hurricanes, severe weather, tornadoes, sinkholes, all flooding, all those items. And then we have a very robust phone number listings for different departments and able to make contact with them.
Yep, and I remember how quick you guys had to update it when the pandemic was in full swing. Still here, but not in the full swing it was before.
Yes, sir.
You come out with guides as well, if I remember correctly, that you do your own specific Pinellas County guide. Where do folks find the Pinellas County guide?
We have electronic copies in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese on our website, and also ADA compliant in all 3 languages, which is a huge resource. You can pick them up. If you need 5 or more copies, we have 2 distribution centers, Lealman Exchange, which is in Pinellas Park, and the center, which is in Palm Harbor. And then we have some in government buildings and town halls. And again, we delivered some to schools to hopefully those kiddos took them home and got them in the parents' hands.
That's such a cool initiative. We did that as well. We found that sometimes as professionals that the people we were targeting weren't really listening to us so much. But if you put it in Johnny or Susie's hand and they were to explain the same information, that Grandmom and Grandpa generally would listen to what they said over there. I always thought that was a pretty cool initiative. While we're talking about initiatives, you guys are no strangers to living and learning, finding out what worked in the past and different ways to go forward and then be ahead of the curve, really. So Jess, let's talk about some of the initiatives that Pinellas County has that benefits the residents that live here.
We have the Sheriff's Office Barrier Island Reentry Program, which is for the folks that work and live on the Barrier Islands. You're not allowed access back after an evacuation, so they're going to want that reentry badge or pass, and you can get that at the Sheriff's Office and some town halls. We've got a storm surge app. You can access that through our website, and it actually will show you in real time your address and what the storm surge will look like. It's a very cool app.
Yep, I've used that app many times, and I actually redid it when the evac levels had changed just to kind of make sure. But it's a pretty cool interactive app to kind of show you that in this kind of situation over here, your house could be inundated, it could not, in that sense. Alert Pinellas too, right?
We have just launched our new Alert Pinellas app, and it's in real time. It'll show you the evacuation zone of where you're actually at that time, or you can look up evacuation zones by address. It also has the Know Your Risk, Make a Plan, Stay Informed, Special Needs information, and it has blue skies and gray skies messaging, so when we get to that point, we can switch the messaging over. One thing that's really neat about it is there is an insurance section where you can actually log all the items in your home, take pictures, and keep that inventory so it's all right there, which I think is a really neat tool.
Yeah, it really is. And if you're watching, we're going to have tons of information during the break and at the end of the show that will help you get in touch with some of these initiatives in Pinellas County. Pasco County is no stranger to thinking forward and moving on initiatives. What's Pasco County doing?
So we have the Alert Pasco app that's still up and running. We've updated it, and it'll give real-time information on when we're in gray skies, when we're under an activation, also our social media. Another big thing that we have done now is weather sim stations. We have one in partnership with the state, and we have probably up to 27 weather STEM stations now, and they're free to the public. They can go on the Pasco County website, and they can get real-time live data of the weather conditions that are in their neighborhood or area.
That's really cool.
Another thing, as Jess had said, the reentry program. So we've been working in conjunction with our stakeholders, and we found out that after a storm has passed, people need to get supplies and food. So we're worked with Publix supermarkets on working with a reentry program with them so they can get their employees and key staff in to get those stores up and running and get them their doors open and hopefully start serving the public again. And then some of our social media sites, the Times and items like that we have gotten them up and running, because the people are not going to want to sit there. They're still going to want to see the media, the news, and all of that stuff. And we can get that live firsthand back to them.
Yeah, and I think people want to get back to some normalcy as well.
Correct.
So trying to work with some of your stakeholders and so they can get back as quick as possible. You also, I've been on your website numerous times. You also have videos on your website too.
Yes, we have a series of video vignettes. They range anywhere from a message from myself to how to do sandbags, how to make a go kit, how to make a pet go kit. So we have all of that on there on the Pasco website as well.
Super helpful. Super helpful. Let's stay with you, Andy, and let's talk about, everybody has a smartphone in their hand. Some know how to use it a little bit better than that. What types of apps and different types of helpful resources can people find on their smartphone for Pasco?
So there's numerous ones. There's the Alert Pasco app. That's the biggest one. Another, I would watch weather ones, especially there's weather-related ones for storm predictions and items like that. I would pay attention to those. And don't be dependent on one app, because one app is going to give you one thing, another app is going to give you another thing. Use multiple apps and gain a census out of that. Study those so you can get a real-time idea of what's going on. And then, of course, our social media, Facebook app, Instagram, and I'm not going to say TikTok. TikTok, that's up and coming. We actually see a lot of things now being posted by governmental agencies that are using TikTok to put their messaging out.
I think they have to. The world's gone in that direction over there too. Jess, what about smartphones in Pinellas County?
Obviously, Ready Pinellas, but same channels, Facebook, Twitter. Also, Nextdoor is a really helpful app to use.
Yep, I saw lots of information, especially during the pandemic on Nextdoor. I always use Nextdoor just to find things that I'd like to purchase, golf clubs or things like that. But I saw a lot of public information officer information going through that, and I guarantee you it got right to the households, just like you're sending these guides to people's houses. Jess, Andy, thank you so much for coming on our show. We covered so much information and all very valuable information. Residents in Pasco and Pinellas County they're really lucky to have you guys helping them prepare for these days there.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks
I enjoyed myself this morning.
Good. We hope you learned a great deal from this month's broadcast. We also hope this episode helped you take this hurricane season as serious as you should. At the end of the show, we'll repost some valuable resources available to you. We'll see you next month, and until then, please stay safe and utilize all the resources these two emergency management offices have offered you.
Many of us don't want to believe that elder abuse, neglect, or exploitation can happen to a family member, a friend, or even ourselves. Elder abuse is a growing problem and is severely underreported. Many victims are reluctant to report due to fear, embarrassment, shame, or guilt. In order to prevent elder abuse, we must take action. Don't be afraid to talk about the issue and report it to the Florida Abuse Hotline at 1-800-962-2873. Together, we can make a difference.
You see all of that? You know what that is? That's opportunity. You probably don't know who I am, and that's okay. You probably don't know a lot about Pasco County either. From country to a nature-rich coastline, Pasco County, also known as Experience Florida's Sports Coast, has a little bit of something for everybody. Let's get down to business, specifically your business. We are a right-to-work state with a pro-business government that offers low operating cost and no personal state income tax. Sounds pretty sweet, right?
13,500 feet. Time to jump.
That's our stop. Don't worry, it gets better. Sounds too good to be true? It's as true as the planes people flock here to see, given Skydive City is one of the top drop zones in the world. I mean, take a look around. What do you see?
Possibility!
That's right, Terry. Possibility, and lots of it. Pasco recently implemented a Ready Sites program that has assessed and evaluated over 2,000 acres of land to prepare property for industrial development. Each property is strategically located with the necessities to support your growing business. Let's say free-falling towards the earth isn't your cup of tea. Maybe a refreshing Arnold Palmer is something more your speed. Saddlebrook Resort is the premier spot for a luxurious getaway. They have over 90,000 square feet of meeting space, a spa, 43 tennis courts, even 2 full-size Arnold Palmer golf courses. There's more than enough space to network or strike deals while hitting the fairway. Now, I know you've seen a mall, but have you seen a mall like this? Shops at Wiregrass is Tampa Bay's premier open-air lifestyle shopping center with over 800,000 square feet of retail, restaurants, and entertainment. You can even bring your best friends. Pasco County houses a robust craft brewery scene, ideal for people who love to make and drink beer. Florida Ave is the perfect place to host an event or just to have a casual business meeting. This is one of the largest family-owned craft breweries in the state, offering 3 unique event spaces to choose from, perfect for networking events and meetings. The beer's pretty good too.
Hey, who let you in here?
Terry, do you know what Synergy is? Stop! I'll tell you. Owned by Florida Sports Coast, this facility came together with private and public partnerships, including a private land donation that this community project now sits on. This 98,000 square foot sports campus can also be transformed into an expansive meeting convention event space with 2 34,000 square foot separate spaces. There's even an on-site Residence Inn by Marriott with a rooftop bar for an excellent view of the surrounding area. Pasco's award-winning Workforce Connect platform allows employers to find programs that produce talent that will thrive in their industries and explore resources that will help their business stand out to top candidates, as well as allow job seekers to discover and explore various career pathways in a diverse economy of fast-growing industries. Oh, Terry, I said top candidates. Pasco County has a long history of specialized production. From the early years of pioneering technological advancements in Florida's citrus industry to our revolutionary breakthroughs in advanced sensor-based manufacturing methods for global brands like Mettler Toledo and Touchpoint Medical, Pasco is positioned for long-term growth. With access to the second largest manufacturing workforce in Florida that is high-skilled, forward-thinking, and growing like crazy, Pasco is ready for the future. Terry, don't touch that! Florida Sports Coast is the perfect destination for the active individual. Hit the trails by bike or foot and explore the hundreds of miles of paved and unpaved trails the destination has to offer. Oh, excuse me, Terry.
Oh.
Thank you.
Wait, that's my bike.
Wait. Pasco County is experiencing an unprecedented growth with over 19,000 acres of master plan developments in the works to create the ultimate live, work, and play communities. Speaking of live and work, Pasco is one of the top places in Florida to work from home.
No! Wait! Wait!
Do you like an adventure? What about an adventure on the water? We are a coastal community with plenty of hidden gems just waiting to be explored. Pedal faster, Terry. With plenty of charming downtowns, there are many options for business, visitors, and residents alike. Being close to waterways lends itself to an improved quality of life with plenty of opportunities to adventure. Florida's Sports Coast has places to work, play, and everything in between. From the extreme to leisurely, we have the talent, space, and a desirable quality of life for you to start, move, or grow your business. So now that you've gotten just a glimpse of how we work, how we play, how we live, I only have one question for you. What are you waiting for? Cheers.
Are you one of the nearly 50,000 veterans who live, work, and play in Pasco County? Our team at Pasco County Veteran Services is here to help you and your family, making sure you receive the benefits you deserve, from filing compensation and pension claims to crisis and aid and assistance. We're here to serve you.
So all of the veteran service officers here in Pasco County are retired from the military. We all come from different backgrounds, different branches of the military, but we all bring forth the experience and our expertise just through things that we have gained from our own personal military service.
You should come in and talk to a veteran service officer if you're trying to put together any type of claim that involves the VA.
I just think the team is great here, very caring, that's for sure. And they put their all to help you. You get total attention from them when you do come in, which is awesome.
We can help provide you with the guidance, we can help you put together the paperwork, and we can also give you a status and update on your claim after it's been submitted.
So I have had veterans that came in with $5 in their bank account, and once their claims get approved, now they're getting a monthly tax-free benefit of over $3,000 a month. That's huge.
Sometimes we can do it over the phone, we can do it over video, but it feels more personable when you're sitting there across from someone who probably lived the same life you lived, and it's more understanding to your needs and your wants.
Give them a call, find out if you can come in, have your documents with you, ready to go, and they'll help you.
Do you like having fun and staying fit?
Do you like to be creative?
Do you like being part of your community?
Do you like a little friendly competition?
Do you like hanging out with friends?
If you're saying yes, then come join us here at Pasco County Senior Services.
We have locations across the county for you to get out and enjoy great company every weekday.
And that's not all. Do you like good food?
We have free lunch every weekday for those 60 and older. Just come in and sign up. If you like what you see, come visit us at Senior Services.
We can't wait to see you!
Hi, I'm Angelo Lorenzo, Regional Manager at the New River Library. We're putting on the final touches at your favorite branch. There are lots of changes inside and out, starting with the parking. As you know, we've moved the entrance drive to the east side of the building, and on your way to the parking lot, you pass a book return kiosk, under cover from the elements, to keep you nice and dry when you're just dropping off a book. We've added new landscaping to the entrance and a bright new sign to keep you informed of events and happenings at the library at a glance. Inside, the flooring is complete, along with the ceilings and lighting. An expansive new front desk is the hub of the library, with friendly staff ready to assist you quickly and efficiently. The furniture, shelves, and fixtures are in place, and we're preparing to deliver the books to the branch soon. The Discovery Gardens at New River are the gem of the library. We'll have a variety of display gardens, sensory features, and of course, garden beds for your use. We've also installed a covered area for holding seminars and demonstrations. We know you're anxious to enjoy the remodeled New River Library, and we're eager to show it off. Follow our social media pages and pascolibraries.org for updates and for the opening date. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Kevin Jenkins, Water Quality Supervisor for Pasco County. What you see behind me tends to create a lot of questions for our department. People ask all the time, why are you wasting all that water, or why is that thing still running? The answer is simple, we're not. What you see happening right here is a state-regulated process called water quality flushing. It happens every day to keep your drinking water safe. Our team is responsible for checking more than 122,000 connections all over Pasco County. As you can imagine, it's a daunting task, but it's work we do proudly and take seriously. We service both residential and commercial connections and flush water mains periodically for preventative maintenance. It helps get rid of impurities, sediment, and biologic growth. This work can be done by a team member or by an automatic flushing device known as an AFD. AFDs can flush pipes remotely. So there you have it, and now you know. That's our flushing process in a nutshell. Pasco County works hard to maintain the best water quality. This is just one way we get to that point. To learn more about this and other Pasco County Utilities information, please visit our website at mypasco.net.
Welcome to Pasco County, the fastest growing county in the Tampa Bay area. The Pasco Board of County Commissioners is a high-performing organization with 2,700 employees representing 57 lines of business, serving nearly 600,000 people over 740 square miles, and we're always looking for talented people to join our team. This is your opportunity to help make your community a better place to live, work, and play. If you're ready to be part of a great success story, consider a career with Pasco County government, recently recognized as a top workplace for 2021. Opportunities include careers in utilities, public works, traffic operations, solid waste, animal services, public transportation, information technology, libraries, parks, human services, recreation and natural resources, administration, senior services, fire rescue, 911, fleet, building construction services, code enforcement, planning, environmental science, and so much more. Plus, our benefits package is tough to beat. We offer employee wellness centers, health, vision, and dental benefits, paid holidays and tuition reimbursement, just to name a few. We are local government reimagined. We're progressive, innovative, and in many areas, Pasco County is leading the way. Want to learn more about what we do and how you can be part of it? Visit mypasco.net and click on Job and Volunteer Opportunities. Our team is more than 2,700 strong. Your neighbors, friends, and even family members. Come join Pasco County and make a difference every day.
Hi, I'm Ainsley with Pasco County Pavement Management. People always ask, why can't you pave roads faster? Well, the process isn't as simple as it seems. We use two methods, which you can see here. They're called milling and paving and full depth reclamation and soil cement. What does that mean exactly? Let's break them down. 90% of our paving projects are done through milling and paving, which takes about 2 weeks, depending on weather and the length of the road. We start by grinding and removing 2 to 3 inches off the road, then we sweep the road to remove fines. Fines are small particles of asphalt or lime rock. Next, we spray tack, which is a mixture of oil and water, onto the road surface to make sure that the asphalt bonds to the road surface. Then we apply a layer or two of asphalt. Ever notice steam rising from the asphalt? That's because it's struck to the worksite at a whopping 325 degrees or hotter. Next, we drive a steamroller over the asphalt to make sure the surface is flat and smooth. And that's it. Now, let's look at the second paving process Pasco uses, which usually takes a bit longer. Our geotechnician team drills into the roadway at the job site and takes samples to a lab to help us determine what mix to use. Then we create a mix to use on the road from materials we salvage from the pre-existing road. A machine grinds 10 inches into the road base, feeding all that material into a giant mixing machine, where it mixes with other ingredients before being spread onto the road. The surface has to be set for a few days, and then our team returns to the site to test the road's strength. If it gets 2 thumbs up, we grind 2 inches off the base, sweep the fines, and add the tack and lay the asphalt. So those are the 2 ways Pasco works to make your commute a whole lot smoother. Public Works inspectors are on every job site to make sure there are no bumps in the road, so to speak. We follow tough guidelines and high standards to keep our roads drivable for years to come. To learn more about Pasco County's paving process, please visit mypasco.net, and thank you for watching.
Pasco County waterways and wildlife depend on you to keep them healthy. Excess fertilizer, grass clippings, trash, oils, and pet waste wash into gutters and storm drains when it rains. Stormwater carries these pollutants directly into our lakes and rivers, creating an unhealthy environment for fish, waterfowl, and other aquatic animals. Storm drains are meant for clean rainwater. Most other discharges are illegal. If you suspect an illicit discharge, please contact Pasco County Department of Public Works at 727-834-3611. Roughly 90,000 dogs in Pasco County create more than 5 tons of waste every year. When left on the ground, stormwater carries bacteria and nutrients from pet waste into waterways, causing algae blooms and unhealthy conditions for fish and other aquatic creatures. Polluted waters are also unsafe for swimming and recreation. Please do your part to keep Florida waters clean by disposing of your pet's waste in the trash. For more information, contact Pasco County Department of Public Works at 727-834-3611.
Hello, I'm Catherine Seavey, Branch Manager at the Centennial Park Library. We're putting the finishing touches on at your favorite branch. There are lots of changes inside and out, starting in the parking lot. It's been repaved and new sidewalks and landscaping have been installed. We've also added a bright new sign to keep you informed of events and happenings at the library at a glance. There's a covered entrance now to help you keep dry and in the shade. Inside, the flooring is complete, along with the ceilings and lighting. An expansive new front desk is the hub of the library, with friendly staff ready to assist you quickly and efficiently. The furniture, shelves, and fixtures are in place, and we're preparing to deliver the books to the branch soon. The loft is the new makerspace devoted to studio arts such as painting and arts and crafts. There's plenty of room to conduct classes in the makerspace or to explore your artistic side on your own. We know you're anxious to enjoy the remodeled Centennial Park Library, and we're eager to show it off. Follow our social media pages and pascolibraries.org for updates and the opening date. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Cindy of Possum Village Rescue.
I'm Linda of Pro Rescue and a volunteer here at Pasco County Animal Services.
My name is Dr. Christine Glenn at PCAS.
We're here to talk with you today about the number of cats coming into Pasco County Animal Services.
You've probably seen loose or stray cats in your neighborhood. Did you know Pasco County does not have leash laws for cats? That means cats can roam free in our county.
And that's why Animal Services doesn't pick up or accept stray cats in the Land O'Lakes shelter. In fact, some of our neighbors enjoy allowing their cats to explore their community, knowing that they won't be picked up and sent to the shelter.
The average shelter return to owner rate for cats is less than 2%. That means if you bring a community cat to our shelter, it's not likely they'll end up being returned to their caregivers. Cats in our communities often have one or more caregivers, and they usually hang out in their home area. The best thing to do for these cats is to leave them be. Share that message and you too can help battle pet overpopulation.
Pasco Animal Services sees a staggering number of kittens from March through November. More than 1,000 kittens under 8 weeks old in 2018 alone. It's human nature to want to help when you find a litter of these fragile felines. But in most cases, they really don't need our help. The mama cat often leaves her babies for a bit to go find food. Again, the best thing you can do is leave them be. In fact, these kittens have a much better chance of survival if we leave them for mom to take care of. Kittens 8 weeks or younger can't stay in a shelter. They're simply not strong enough to fight off common diseases or viruses that older vaccinated cats are able to handle. By leaving them be, you're actually helping save their lives.
If you're concerned the kittens have really been orphaned, meaning they haven't been moved, or you're sure mom hasn't been back in at least 8 consecutive hours, then you can step in and care for the kittens. Animal Services offers resources on our website about kitten fostering, spay and neuter services, trap rentals, and vaccinations. Whether you have a single community cat or a bunch of kitties, we encourage you to contact us at 813-929-1212 for more information on our SNP Trap, Neuter, Vaccinate, Release program. This means healthier and fewer community cats in your neighborhood. Healthier because we can prevent diseases like rabies, and fewer because all of the cats that we treat are also spayed and neutered. Cats are eligible for the program at 8 weeks old.
Pasco Animal Services understands community cats can be an issue for some neighborhoods, and we encourage you to reach out to us. We'd love to come visit your community group.
Our team members are available for meetings and presentations. You can book an appearance right on our website. Popular topics are solutions between neighbors, feeding stations, and humane deterrents for keeping cats off of certain properties.
Pasco County is a strong and growing community, and through our combined efforts, we can help save lives with 3 simple words. Leave them be.
Hi, I'm Bob Harrison with Pasco County Libraries. Today I'm sharing my Morning Blend book club recommendations. My first book takes us to Scotland for a tense murder mystery. It's A Season to Kill by debut author Nick Winter. When lawyer Darcy Sinclair finds the body of local socialite Ellie Bradshaw, it quickly becomes more than just a gruesome scene. Childhood trauma bubbles to the surface as the body count rises, town secrets are exposed, and grudges are uncovered. The characters are unforgettable, and as the book rushes toward its violent climax, it's clear to Darcy that a malignant killer resides within her inner circle. If she doesn't uncover the truth in time, Darcy might lose everything. My next book is All the Beautiful Lies by Peter Swanson. This is a clever tale of obsession, revenge, and murder. Harry Ackerson has always considered his stepmother, Alice, to be beautiful, if a little aloof. Days before his college graduation, Alice calls with shocking news. His father is dead, and the police think it's suicide. Devastated, Harry returns to his father's home in Maine. Shortly after he arrives, Harry meets a mysterious young woman named Grace. She claims to be new to the area, but Harry suspects she may not be a complete stranger to his family. Harry finds himself falling deeper under both their spells. Yet the closer he gets, the more disoriented he becomes, fearing they are hiding dangerous, even deadly secrets. My last book is perfect for middle grade readers. It's Scritch Scratch by Lindsay Curry. Claire has absolutely no interest in the paranormal. She's a scientist, which is why she can't think of anything worse than having to help her dad on one of his ghost-themed Chicago bus tours. She thinks she's made it through when she sees a boy with a sad face and dark eyes at the back of the bus. There's something off about his presence, especially when she checks at the end of the tour, he's gone. Now she's being haunted. The boy from the bus wants something, and Claire needs to find out what before it's too late. Thank you, and happy reading.
You can read a story. You can go for a walk. So why not combine both? Welcome to our Story Walk. Here at J.B. Starkey Wilderness Park, we have installed a new story in our Story Walk. Check out this new seasonal themed title, The Very Last Leaf by Steph Wade and illustrated by Jennifer Davison, where you'll learn about Lance, the cottonwood leaf, and how he must face his fear of falling with the change of the seasons. The Story Walk consists of 18 reading stations positioned along a 0.2-mile loop. Along the way, you'll also learn some fun facts about the changing colors of leaves. The outdoor reading experience allows children, families, and people of all ages to read a story while walking along a nature trail. Head to the back left trail of the playground area, follow the purple trailblazes, and you'll be on your way. A special thank you to all who partnered with libraries to make this project possible: Pasco County Parks, Recreation, and Natural Resources, the Friends of the Pasco County Library System, and AmeriCorps.
They've helped me keep my home, raising my two grandboys. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't, I don't know where we would be.
The purpose of Human Services is to see how we can best meet the needs of the Pasco County citizens. There are various needs, housing, food, medical needs, and various things, mental health. At both offices, we have 4 core programs. One is the EHEAP program, which is the Emergency Home Energy Assistance Program, and we help with past due electric bills for that. In addition, we have something called the Cremation Burial Service. We can help indigent families in Pasco County bury their loved one if they are not able to afford cremation and burial. We have a program called HICRA. So if someone from Pasco County has emergency services provided to them outside of the county, we can help assist them in paying for those bills. We also have something called a roundup, so we could help pay for past due water bills.
To come here when they have the funding, they will do everything in their power to help you.
If we don't have the funding or the ability to help them, we try to connect them with agencies around the county that can help them with whatever they need.
But we're a group of 10, very friendly, helpful, willing to support our citizens as best we can. We're very resourceful. So if you want to reach us, you can go to mypasco.net. You can also call the offices or stop in.
We're happy to help. We want you to come and, see us.
They serve, as I did, to fight for our freedoms. We here at Go Pasco want to return the favor by serving you. Go Pasco offers all active duty military and veterans unlimited free rides on our fixed route buses. When you step on the bus, just show the driver one of these forms: military ID card, DD Form 2, valid VA card, V on your driver's license, or Go Pasco Veteran ID. Go Pasco, where veterans ride free.
We provide a place to seek support and services.
We provide you a way to keep going.
We provide affordable housing opportunities and create community partnerships.
We provide a place to play and preserve precious resources.
We provide you a place to learn and create.
We provide you a place to rescue and care for your furry friends.
We provide a place for you to flourish and to grow.
We provide you a destination to embark on your next adventure.
We believe it's essential to give the best resources to you, your family, and our community. We are humble and proud to serve you. We are Pasco County Public Services.
The community is pitching in, helping their neighbors.
It means everything to our neighborhood.
And it's a good effort on behalf of not just the community, but it's also the county working together.
The dumpsters, the county employees, the recognition that we are coming together as a community.
Very important to get out in the community and do these kinds of things.
To take pride in our neighborhood means a lot.
So is it cool to see all this stuff getting cleaned up?
Yeah.
Today, we're celebrating the transition of Pasco County public transportation to a new, more modern name, Go Pasco.
It's time for a change. It's so much brighter,
so much better colors. The buses look a lot better.
Goodbye, PCPT. It was always a hard time to remember those initials, and to have Go Pasco is going to be amazing for our citizens to remember, even for us to remember.
We've been PCPT for 25 years. Go Pasco envisions exactly what we mean. We're here in Pasco to go where you need us to go.
I think we're looking forward to the future, showing that we have a lot of pride in our community. We get to people actually liking that a lot. And like I said, they just like the modernization's a lot better.
It makes us more reliable. Go Pasco tells you who we serve. We serve Pasco. Where PCPT, it was tough to determine that. So that's why we went to this new name and new brand. Again, vibrant colors help us get that message across.
Thank you to the team for putting this all together. This has been a 20-something years we've been PCPT. Goodbye, and see you on Go Pasco.
Here in Florida, we're no stranger to rain, and Pasco County Public Works wants to show you how we're working to improve drainage along your roads. Our crews work hard to keep your roads in great shape, and you'll notice after a heavy rain, we often see ponding or standing water on the road that doesn't easily drain away. Ponding can be a problem for a couple reasons. Most importantly, it can be a safety issue, because when you drive through standing water, you can start to hydroplane and lose control. So why does ponding happen? In most cases, it's because the shoulder doesn't slope away from the road, so the water doesn't have anywhere else to go. Pasco crews are always on the lookout for these problem areas and have a relatively easy way to fix them. Most Pasco roads that have water ponding problems have a sod curb, where the grass grows right up next to the road. Our crews use this machine, called a grater, to shave off about 3 feet of sod running along the road. This creates a slope, allowing water to run away from the road. Our crews also use a loader to scoop debris and a sweeper to clean the worksite. Then finishing touches are added, like new sod or stone to prevent the fresh soil from washing away. And just like that, ponding is gone and your roads are protected. This easy, cost-effective fix doesn't alter the rights of way or affect your property in any way. Thanks for watching, and please visit mypasco.net to learn more about how Pasco is working for you.